American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
I'm Sherry Shepard. You probably know me best as a co-host on The View. More importantly, I'm a mom. If you're pregnant or a new mom, you can get timely expert information to help keep your baby healthy, something every mother wants. Through a free service called Text for Baby, women get health tips sent directly to their cell phones to help them care for their babies through the first year. Just text BABY, B-A-B-Y, to 511-411. That's BABY, B-A-B-Y, to 511-411 for the health of your baby.
Hey, this is Rob.
And this is Casey.
Our response to the governor's State of the State.
Join us Thursday, 9 until noon on 93 WIBC.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Dugan Air Heating and Cooling Mitsubishi Electric Studios, who's announcing a run at a different city office this week. What Governor Mike Braun hit on during his State of the State last night. Cold conditions are here. Will it be getting colder? And could the Pacers extend their win streak last night against the Raptors? Those stories and more next after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 9 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. A threat from the White House to Minnesota. I'm Dave Anthony. It came on Truth Social a short time ago. President Trump wrote, if corrupt politicians in that state don't obey the law and stop professional agitators from attacking ICE, he will institute the Insurrection Act. After another night of protesters clashing with police, calling ICE officers murderers a week after Renee Good's shooting death, they were even more angry over another ICE-involved shooting.
Anyone that is taking the bait tonight, stop.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry, an ICE critic, has praised peaceful protesters but told those getting violent,
that is not helpful. Go home.
As for the new shooting, it happened as ICE stopped a car to take a Venezuelan illegal immigrant into custody.
They say he doesn't stop the car. Two other guys are in there with them. They crash. They get out. And then, according to DHS and according to the police chief, they did confirm that there was a physical altercation.
Fox's Alexis McAdams in Minneapolis reports all three were assaulting the officer with a shovel and a broomstick, and he opened fire in self-defense.
The Venezuelan man who's in the country illegally, according to ICE, with a rap sheet is hit in the leg, expected to be okay.
President Trump will meet in a few hours with Maria Corina Machado, who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize last year for leading a push for democracy in Venezuela that got her jailed. After threatening to take action in Iran to stop a deadly crackdown on protesters there, the president says he's been told the killing has stopped.
Rights groups believe more than 2,500 people have been killed by the Iranian authorities and more than 18,000 people arrested. Iran, though, says it has no plan to execute anyone alleged to be involved.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. A mission to space ended early. Very early this morning.
On behalf of SpaceX and NASA, welcome home, Crew 11.
After splashing down in the Pacific about 5 hours ago in NASA's first ever medical evacuation, they were not saying which member of the four-person crew needed to return for treatment or what the illness is. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He's seeking another city office. Cloudy and cold this morning. Right now, 18 in downtown Indianapolis. Today's high at just 26. More on the weather coming up. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:02. A member of the Indianapolis City County Council is running for the highest office around. Former council president Bob Osley says as mayor, he wants to build a city that works for everyone.
In the past, and even now, some have used lines to divide us. But if we draw them with people in mind, they can connect every neighborhood to opportunity.
That's from a video he posted this morning. Osley has spent the last 14 years on the council. He said his campaign will focus on affordable housing, public safety, a strong infrastructure, and economic opportunity. Affordability, that's the top priority for Indiana Governor Mike Braun this year. John Herrick reports on what the governor said during his State of the State address Wednesday night.
Braun says he'll be protecting Hoosiers from utility rate increases that don't make sense.
Affordability is why I support Representative Elena Schunkweiler's bill to hold investor-owned utilities accountable to provide affordable energy before they can increase their profit margin.
He says the state's official consumer advocate, Abby Gray, will not just give in to the utility companies. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A total of 6 people are dead from 2 separate accidents happening on Wednesday. First in northern Indiana in Whitley County. A woman, a toddler, and an infant died in a collision on State Road 9. Deputies there say slick road conditions may have played a factor. The other driver involved suffered minor injuries. Over in Madison County, a head-on collision on State Road 67 resulted in the deaths of a man and a woman from Georgia and an Anderson man. Gas prices rising this week. The average today in Indiana at $2.86, according to AAA. That's 2 cents over the national average. A much colder day in the Hoosier State as well as we expected. The wind and wind chill are making it tough to stay outside. Wind chills will continue to drop below 0 over the next few days too.
But as far as the air temperature goes, over the weekend into next week, we're really not looking for relief, so to speak, until mid next week. Next Wednesday, we're looking for highs to get back up around 30.
And that's forecaster Earl Breon at the National Weather Service. He says snow is also in the forecast through Saturday after we saw some flurries on Wednesday. And the Indiana Pacers win streak coming to an end last night. They lost to the Raptors 115-101. Indiana welcomes the Pelicans to the Fieldhouse tomorrow night. Matt Bear has a check of the roads.
Yeah, Jared, looking at southbound 65 approaching 86th Street. That's a crash backing up past 865 for 7-minute delay. North side eastbound 465 at Ditch Road or approaching 31 Meridian crash. And slow past Michigan Road 421. That's a delay time of 16 minutes. Traffic sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. Questions about youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit organization, develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoaching.org. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Hammer and Nigel here for Premier Weight Loss Indy. PWLindy.com. 2 different locations. And look, everybody is somewhere different in their health journey. People aren't the same, and treatments should not be the same. This is why I love Premier Weight Loss Indy. It's an in-person visit. You're going to get a consultation with a professional, and they will customize a plan specifically for you. Again, no plans are the same because people are not the same. So if you really want to take your health to the next level this year, start by going online to PWLindy.com. I lost a bunch of weight of my own, but then I hit a plateau and I couldn't lose anymore. I reached out for help. Premier Weight Loss Indy jumped in the mix, and now I'm down 16 additional pounds in 2 months. PWLindy.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. Take care of your health.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Partly cloudy and bitter cold today, a high of 26, wind chills into the low to mid-teens. Tonight, cloudy, scattered snow showers, around 1 inch or 2 of accumulation overnight, a low of 22. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8's Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
And I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, look, you got to give Braun credit.
Do I?
He delivered that State of the State with all the enthusiasm of a guy about to enter a colonoscopy. My gosh, was that boring.
It was quick, too, wasn't it?
It was bad, even by Braun standards. I mean, he is an awful, uncharismatic public speaker. And I talked to multiple members of the media last night while the speech was going on, and they were like, this is bad even by the low bar we've set for Braun, right? I mean, that State of the State was worse than I expected. It was void of any big, meaningful policy proposals. He was doing his best to spin the past year as though it was some sort of win. And the biggest applause lines of the night were IU football and the Bears.
And the Chicago Bears.
Which the Bears ain't happening, and he has done everything in his power. Braun has to screw over Indiana University. So, I mean, it was, look, I mean, the state is a dumpster fire. And by the way, I don't know if you saw this when they announced Braun, right? So like I'm watching a video feed of this, and Micah gets up and announces Braun, and he flubbed the announcement, but that's neither here nor there. Braun comes in, and normally there's this robust enthusiasm. There's this huge applause. There's I can't wait to greet the governor and get a hug and get on TV and a blah blah blah. And these people acted like the high school principal had just walked in.
They were going to have mandatory fun.
Yeah, you can tell these people want nothing to do with him. They were there by force. And the speech reflected a guy who has nothing to offer this state.
So you did not walk away feeling overly motivated. Well, Braun did say that the state of the state is strong. He emphasized economic growth, affordability, and Indiana being open for business. The one thing that struck me was that it was very pointed, it was succinct, and it was not peppered with a bunch of flowery language, which kind of surprised me because I'm told that there is at least one person at the State House who is the most excellent writer and would stop you dead in your tracks. So why he did not elicit the help from somebody who could craft that message, I don't know, not horsing around. But he did mention that it was going to cross the finish line twice, and both times he was talking about the sporting events that you mentioned, IU football and the Chicago Bears.
I mean, the biggest applause lines were IU football, and then that was followed by this pie in the sky, Fantasy Island. By the way, I love now Mike Braun's plan for the Bears, basically, and the state's plan for the Bears is to get in bed with Tom McDermott, the mayor of Hammond,
right.
who is a complete
who was there,
who is a complete Democrat nutbag. He's the guy who ran against Todd Young a couple of years ago. And that is their big plan to bring the Bears is Tom McDermott. So basically, we're going to have Indianapolis 2.0, where we're going to put some loser. We're going to put this in a city that is run by a complete zero. And that's Braun's plan for the Bears. The Bears are not happening. The Bears are not leaving. They're not going. They're always going to be the Chicago. Well, they're going to be at Hammond and be the Chicago Bears, or Indiana's going to put $1 billion of tax incentives out for the Chicago Bears, and they're going to be in Indy. That doesn't make any sense. The Bears are not leaving. That is to distract people. And the reality is, and Casey, you watched the speech. Was there any signature policy proposal that he put forward last night that you said, "Wow, if we do that"? That's going to be great for Indiana.
Well, he did mention about how it's costing less now to create a job here in Indiana. I did think he tried his best to talk about his successes of the past year.
What were they?
Well,
what were the successes?
In his mind, we're getting the same message. One of them was about property taxes. He again talked about the historic tax reform and how it's going to save taxpayers $1.5 billion over 3 years.
Another weight on Hoosiers' wallets when I took office was property taxes. It's a major driver of the affordability crisis. That's why I led the way to historic, meaningful property tax reform. Our historic tax cut on property taxes, $1.5 billion over 3 years. It ensures local governments have resources for essential services, and Hoosier homeowners can keep more of their money in their pocket.
Now, hang on just a second, because I'm going to go into a thing. Well, I'll let you go first.
All I was going to say is that he framed that issue as it being settled, which is different from what we have heard, that they were going to go back and review it.
Yeah, he's done with it.
And tweak.
He's done with it.
Yeah.
He is Donald Trump to that auto plant worker the other day, extending his middle finger.
Telling him he's number one.
Look, all the property tax bill is one, it is a giveaway to big business. The big winners in the property tax bill are these megacorps who will now get their what they call real property. They'll be able to not pay taxes on that up to $2 million. So they're the huge winners. They're going to get most of the money out of this. And what you're going to get is your taxes. And by the way, my old buddy Steve did a big expose on this last night. We've talked about Steve before. Steve probably knows property taxes better than maybe any person in the state, including the lawmakers. He's a former local newspaper writer up in Noble County. And he did a big expose on this last night about how in the short term, and this is exactly what we've said on this show, in the short term, like this year, you are probably going to see, depending on where you live, a quote unquote lower property tax bill. May not be by much, but you're probably going to see a lower property tax bill. But then the fun starts because the system itself, and this is what we've been saying for years in this program, the system itself is so broken, you cannot fix it by tinkering inside of the system. And so what is going to happen, because property taxes are a mixture of assessed values and tax rates and levies and things that three people in this state understand, what is going to happen, especially for farmers in this state going forward, and Hoosier Ag Today had a big thing on this, you don't have to take my word for it, that you are going to start to see specific people in the tax code see their property taxes skyrocket. On top of that, you're going to see most school districts in this state, many school districts in this state, go for school referendums this fall. That will raise your taxes if they pass. At the very least, you're going to have to spend your own money to defeat the property tax referendum. Then you're going to see in many communities this income tax go up, which didn't exist. And so 3 years from now, you'll get the immediate quote-unquote benefit. But 3 years from now, your collective tax burden is going to be higher, in some cases much higher than it is today. What they came up with was a joke. It was a giveaway to big business. You are going to get screwed. And as Braun does with just about everything, he looked the entire state in the eye, just like he did 1,000 people at our property tax rally, and he lied.
Another thing he talked about was data centers and AI. He said that the data centers must pay their own electricity costs.
When did that start? Because when did that start? Did I miss some piece of legislation that says the data centers must pay their own freight?
No.
Did I miss that? Is that somewhere? Can you direct me to that? Because all we're seeing from all of these utility companies is how much rates are going to go up. And one of the things they're saying publicly is because of the large businesses, these mega corporations, these data centers that are using huge amounts of electricity. He pulled that out of his ass.
He actually said your utility costs will go down.
How?
Because of the data centers.
Oh, because of so a company that is using large amounts of electricity is somehow going to make my electricity go down. See, once again, you cannot believe a word that comes out of his mouth, because if the data centers are such a great deal, if the data centers are making money, if the data centers are paying for themselves, then why is Mike Braun's Indiana Economic Development Corporation giving millions of dollars of tax incentives on top of the local tax incentives, the abatements that these buildings are get to be here? If they're such a great deal, if they're so great for the community, why are we as Hoosiers paying millions of dollars for these data centers to come to Indiana?
One thing that he did mention,
I believe the answer is because he's lying.
One thing that he did mention was that childcare costs were too expensive, and he said that that's going to be addressed in the 27 budget, not this year, and he wants businesses to get involved and have skin in the game as well.
Look, he was void. It was laborious. It was boring. He was void of any specific policy proposals. He's fresh out of ideas. He has to know, or at least the people around him, because I don't know whether Braun knows where he's at most of the time, but they have to know these lawmakers hate him. They're not going to give him anything he wants. He's just a guy cashing a check at this point. He's just some rich, aloof weirdo cashing a check that did nothing for you, and he's totally blown it. He's done.
The one point in the speech that got the most passion out of everybody, and as you mentioned, is when he was talking about the IU football team.
You know what else makes life more affordable? The government spending less of your money.
Well, that's number one. Move to number 4, Kevin. He's talking about the national championship game coming up.
I am so proud of the work we've done to make Indiana a better, more affordable place to build a life. My administration has people from up and down the state. We have Butler fans. We have Notre Dame fans. We have Purdue fans. But on Monday, I expect to see all of them wearing cream and crimson.
That's how you get people excited. You talk about nonpartisan issues.
Indiana University, which he and his lieutenant governor have gone out of their way to attack, to change the structure of, to say they're awful, they're horribly run, they changed the board, and then here he is, the classic politician move, right? When a benefits him, hey, we love IU. They're the best. We're all Hoosiers today, baby.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Tickets are on sale right now for Trump 1 year later. The highs, the lows, how we win the midterms. Happening at the Hyatt Regency, downtown Indianapolis. The bourbon will flow. The food will be fantastic. We're going to go over Trump's past year and how we use that to win the midterms. It's going to be informing, entertaining, and very, very funny. I promise. Join us, Trump 1 year later. Brought to you by Premier Arms, PA Jewelers, Defiance Beef, Chimney Solutions, and WIBC. Get your tickets at WIBC.com.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or Sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1 day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
What say we start that new year with a new car at Tom Roush Lincoln? Hurry in for the 8, 9, 10 deal. Get $8,000 off new Nautilus or $9,000 off new Corsair. Or how about $10,000 off Lincoln Aviator? The 8, 9, 10 deal right now at Tom Roush Lincoln. Come get a great deal on all three from Tom Roush, where our family served yours since 1972.
Corsair stock number L25566, MSRP 55340. Nautilus stock number L26030, MSRP 62705. Aviator stock number L25384, MSRP 79450. See dealer for complete offer details.
Life's full of unexpected joys, like problems with water. That's why there's Michaelis, a crew of 24/7 experts who are rescue ready, day or night, one phone call, for a gazillion disasters. Over 3 decades of restoring your home or business to better than new condition. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Give family a call for your family maintenance plan, 317-577-8077. Maintenance is crucial.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
This hour powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer. Nobody cares for you like family.
Okay, I want to come back to something that Braun said last night in his State of the State, and these people that are talking about the Bears coming to Indiana.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody's grasping what we're talking about here or the cost of this to the people. So I just want to try to frame this for everybody, and you and I work through this, okay?
I thought when you said, let's talk about the Bears, I thought you meant how they're playing the Rams coming up on Sunday.
I'm going to have the $50 wager again.
Okay.
I'm all in. And so I think people can take stock in what I'm about to tell you, because I am a massive Chicago Bears fan. I have been my entire life. My grandfather was. My father was. So if anybody's into the Bears, right, or understands, if you had a radio host here in Indianapolis who could do a segment on the Bears and has followed the Bears stadium stuff and loves the Bears, it's going to be me.
So you were one of the 31.6 million people who streamed that wild card game when they beat the Packers.
Over and over and over and over and over. And I love the Bears so much, I bet $50 to ensure that they won, and I'm going to do it again this week. But this is a joke, what these lawmakers are talking about. So let's just start where we're at right now, okay, to put this in some perspective. Now, with interest, et cetera, it's believed that Lucas Oil Stadium cost over $1 billion. That was 20 years ago when they built Lucas Oil Stadium. Obviously, construction costs have increased, right? But even by that time, it was grandiose, it was excess, see the retractable roof, etc. It's believed the cost of Lucas Oil with interest about $1.2-ish billion. We are 20 years on, almost 20 years on Lucas Oil Stadium. It is nowhere close to being paid off. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that are still owed on Lucas Oil Stadium. By all accounts, in terms of other than benefiting Indianapolis and the city of Indianapolis, it has been an economic loser for the taxpayers. Because what they do, they force the donut counties to pay higher taxes who are getting basically no benefit out of that for Lucas Oil Stadium. Now, you want to make an argument, it's the capital city, it's the team, it'd be a disaster for the state for our team to leave. Okay, we can have that conversation. But that number is very important, that $1.2 billion, because that was about the cost with interest of Lucas Oil Stadium. When the Bears are talking about coming, they're talking about Hammond, Indy. They're not coming to Gary. There's no way they're going to tour Gary and go, hey, sign us up for that. Hammond, Indiana is the most logical location. That's Northwest Indiana, right? It's nowhere near the economic engine, driver, whatever of the state. That it's just it is going to be an island unto itself, right? The Bears are in a fight with the state of Illinois, not about the stadium itself. The Bears have said we will pay for our own stadium. The fight is about paying for the infrastructure. And the state of Illinois, whether it is through this dome on the current site or Arlington Heights, which is in a suburb of Chicago, it's still in Cook County. On both locations, the Bears have talked about paying their own freight, paying their own way, whatever. The issue, the fight, is around public funding for infrastructure. It is believed at the current site that they're fighting with the General Assembly on that infrastructure will total, over $1 billion. Yeah. We're not talking about a road to get you to the stadium. You are talking about to create an NFL football stadium and the infrastructure and the village and the economic engine that would happen around it. The equivalent of what you have paid, what we are paying, what we are still paying for Lucas Oil Stadium. In the capital city, in the economic driver of the state of Indiana. And for taxpayers, we haven't even been able to make it work other than for the taxpayers, the businesses, whatever, immediately around Lucas Oil Stadium in 20 years for the hometown team.
Right. And you've got the population base to do it here.
You're telling me that you're going to stick an NFL stadium in Northwest Indiana where, in comparison to Indianapolis, there's nothing there or going on there? And let's face it, the people in Chicago, they may come. Let's just pretend the Bears moved to Hammond. The people in Chicago may come from Chicago to Hammond, Indiana to go to a Bears game. They're not staying throughout the week.
They're not going to make a weekend, go to the dunes.
You think like if it comes down to, are we going to have, I'm just picking a name, right? Let's just say Taylor Swift. You think if they told her, because Soldier Field is not going to go away, they're not going to get rid of Soldier Field. They're still going to be in Chicago, Illinois. You think Taylor Swift, they're going to tell Taylor Swift, yeah, you're going to have a concert in Hammond, Indiana. That's not happening. So other than the Bears, what's going to be the primary economic driver? Because there is not, you're going to have to invent the infrastructure from scratch. The hotels, all of these things, the restaurants, whereas in Chicago,
it's already there.
Right. It all exists. Now, one of the issues with the Bears' current location, while it's beautiful that it's on Lake Michigan itself, it is not around those things, and that's been one of the issues. But we are acting like this is some small thing that would be proposed, and that the Bears are talking about paying for everything, and the state of Illinois is just being so stupid and short-sighted by not doing this. Nobody loves big government more than the state of Illinois. Nobody loves corruption and underhandedness and special interest and giveaways more than the state of Illinois. What the Bears are proposing is so bad that even the state of Illinois is like, whoa, you better hold on here.
Many people are arguing, though, that if they do bring the Bears to, say, Hammond, it will turn that blighted area around.
For them, probably. It's hard to go anywhere but up from Hammond, Indiana. So we're going to take essentially the same price tag that we paid for Lucas Oil Stadium, which hasn't turned out in terms of a pure dollars and cents to the taxpayers of Central Indiana who have fronted the freight for Lucas Oil Stadium, and they couldn't make it work. We're now going to stick a team that's not even from Indiana. We're going to bring them into Indiana, in Northwest Indiana, in a blighted, dilapidated, rundown area as a collective. And we're led to believe that the state of Indiana and our taxpayers paying $1 billion, and they're going to make that work when they couldn't make it work for the Colts.
Your governor said that Indiana is actively working to attract them. They are pursuing the Chicago Bears.
And when we talk about pursuing, we're talking about giving them $1 billion. Is having a that's the thing you need to ask yourself. Is having a second NFL team worth $1 billion of taxpayer money? Because that's what's going to happen. The idea that you're going to create some super community where people are on a daily basis going to live and go and whatever in Hammond, Indiana is not going to happen.
What are we talking about? 7 weekends a year?
There are 8 or 9 NFL home games. Yeah. You've got 1 or 2 preseason games. You've got potentially playoff games. So at the most, you're talking, what would that be? 12, maybe 13 events? That's insanity. So just remember, when they're talking about, quote unquote, attracting the Chicago Bears, you're going to talk about $1 billion of taxpayer money to pay to create that environment by which an NFL stadium could go in Northwest Indiana, and it will do nothing, absolutely nothing for you as a taxpayer hearing my voice right now.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Yankee legend Bernie Williams has a personal message to share.
Idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, or IPF, is a rare and serious lung disease that affected my dad. Its symptoms, which include shortness of breath, fatigue, and a dry, persistent cough, are similar to other more common conditions like COPD, which means that IPF is often misdiagnosed. There's no cure for IPF, but there are treatments that can help slow disease progression. If you think you or a loved one may have IPF, don't wait. Visit breathlessipf.com to learn more and talk to a pulmonologist today.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Another ICE-involved shooting. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:30. More protesting in Minneapolis after the second shooting by an ICE agent in the span of 1 week.
An ICE agent ambushed Thursday night during an attempt to arrest a Venezuelan national. That from DHS, saying the suspect tried to evade arrest. That 2 people attacked the officer with a snow shovel. The suspect began striking the agent, who fired defensive shots, hitting the suspect in the leg. He and the officer hospitalized. The other 2 now jailed. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry and Governor Tim Walz later to protesters.
For anyone that is taking the bait tonight, stop.
We must protest loudly, urgently, but also peacefully.
We're told activists vandalized several ICE vehicles. At least one was looted of a gun.
Fox's Jeff Manasseh reporting the United Nations is holding an emergency meeting today on the anti-government protests in Iran. President Trump says that he's been told the killings have stopped, although the U.S.-based human rights activist news agency has verified that at least 2,500 deaths as of Wednesday. And a 4-person crew from the International Space Station is back on Earth this morning after returning early because of a serious medical emergency. NASA Administrator Jarek Isaacman says the return flight went smoothly.
Watching it play out from the time of the original situation developing to get our astronauts safely in the water and on their way to medical care was executed almost near flawlessly.
The crew of 2 U.S. astronauts, 1 Japanese astronaut, and 1 Russian cosmonaut spent 167 days in space. It's the first time NASA has cut short a mission to the ISS because of a medical emergency. And now your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. The Dow's up 46 points, 49,149. The S&P 500 also in the green. It's up 38 points, 6,926. And the NASDAQ showing it's up 287 points, 25,465. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Are you ready to build your custom dream home? Joyner Homes is ready to make your dream come true. Over 18 years, Joyner Homes, based out of Greenfield, have built hundreds of homes in central Indiana, and the best place to start is joynerhomes.com. That's where you'll find pricing, photos of completed Joyner homes to inspire you, available home sites, and info on where you can visit their model homes and a lot more. Be sure to check out Joyner Homes' 5-star Google reviews. Get started today at joynerhomes.com.
Since 1983, over 80,000 customers have trusted their home to B-Window.
We're now employee-owned, and that means we treat your home like it's our own.
From energy-efficient windows that can cut your energy costs by up to 50%. To stylish doors, siding, and custom bathroom models, we have you covered.
And every project is backed by our industry-leading warranty.
Call today or go to bwindow.com and receive up to 60% off plus 24 months, same as cash, with 0% interest.
Because at B-Window,
we mean business. We mean business.
Trust me.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
So it looks like the Indiana General Assembly is about to spurn President Trump again.
Right. They're not going to adopt all of the elements of the one big, beautiful bill. Possibly. You've got Representative Thompson. You know, he's the tax guru over there at the State House.
Smartest man in the State House.
Yeah, okay.
He's been at it since the Clinton administration. He hasn't been able to figure anything out, but he's the smartest guy in the State House.
He said that discussions are ongoing about what they're going to do.
Okay, so what we're talking about here is last year, of course, they passed this legalized vote buying operation, better known as the big, beautiful bill.
Mm-hmm.
And there are all these new provisions in the tax code for the federal tax code. But your state tax code does not have to line up with whatever the federal tax code is. Now, generally, in states that are run by the same party that the federal government is run by, so if it's Democrats with Democrats, Republicans with Republicans, generally they try to match those up, one, to support the president. They don't want the public thinking, well, if my state didn't do it, it must not be all that great, or, you know, the state doesn't want the federal government looking like the good guys, et cetera. So they try to match them up. But in the case of this legalized vote buying operation that they enacted last year in Washington, D.C., it's so massive and unpaid for, and of course, they just turn on the printing press. The state of Indiana has looked at a lot of these things and said, wait a second.
We can't afford it.
Right. We can't turn on the printing press. And we already raised taxes by $1 billion. Of course, they haven't. You notice they conveniently don't mention that publicly when they.
Mm-hmm.
Braun didn't mention that last night.
No.
He talked about all the things they did. He didn't mention about the $1 billion that he raised taxes on. And so the state of Indiana, which is a rare move where a state that is run by the same party that controls Washington, D.C., appears set to not enact many of the legalized vote buying operations tax laws into their own tax code.
Yes, so the lawmakers, they haven't decided on whether to adopt the tax deductions for overtime wages and also the tax deduction for tips, the no tax on tips element.
So basically what this means is when you would file a tax return, and it already is this way. It's just going to be more hectic and harder to understand, and it's going to make these accountants a lot of money because you'll have to hire somebody to do this for many people. Is you will get, like, if let's say they don't enact the no tax on tips thing,
Mm-hmm.
you will be able to not pay federal income tax on those tips, but on your state income tax, you will still pay that. So you would get the federal benefit, you would just not get the state benefit. And look, that makes sense from a state perspective. Just because Trump wants to do something, we've already budgeted around things, we've already planned things. We're not under any obligation. It's just kind of newsworthy because they're the same party and they're not aligned. But it shows you how massive and irresponsible that bill actually was.
Well, it shows you what Republicans in Indiana have already determined they want to spend money on. They want to spend your money on. The Broad administration says that if they conform fully to the One Big Beautiful Bill, it could cost Indiana over $900 million in 2 years.
And this is one of the major problems with our government and the policies they put forward. They write laws to appease certain groups of people they want to vote for them. We should have a tax policy that benefits everyone. Like, we just did a segment on the Bears. What are we talking about with them? Oh, we're going to do all these special things for the Bears that regular people can't get. Where the theory would be, if you had a tax policy that benefited all people, people would want to come here and be here because the climate is good for everyone. The problem is we write so many laws based on who gives money to the politicians, who donates, the powerful lobbyists, the relationships those lobbyists have, and you start carving out these special deals for select groups. There's no way that all 50 states could keep par or keep pace with what the federal government's doing because they can't print money to make up when they're not taking in as much money as they're spending.
So they're saying that there's this Senate Bill 212, and that bill could adopt some, but not all of the federal tax changes. And that's something they're going to meet next Thursday and determine.
All right, let's get an update on Timothy Busfield.
Yeah, what's going on with him? He was arraigned or he appeared in court. I know I saw videos of him in an orange jumpsuit.
Okay, so a reminder, we
Detained without bond
yes,
is what it was.
So Timothy Busfield is a fairly well-known actor. I mean, Field of Dreams. He was in 30-something, Little Big League, West Wing, Revenge of the Nerds. He's been in he's never been the leading man, but he's always been what you would know him if you saw him. He's the probably best known, the obnoxious brother-in-law who's trying to take the farm in Field of Dreams.
I think that we can put him in the class with Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka and Jenny from Forrest Gump and Rose from Titanic. Just a bad character.
The Mark, the brother-in-law in Field of Dreams.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one who pushed little Karen off the bleacher, making her choke on the hot dog.
That's
and
right.
Completely ending the Field of Dreams for Moonlight Graham.
That's correct. Yes, and I'm so impressed you knew that. That's very, very good. I mean, you thought the Eagles were the Jets this past weekend, so I'm very impressed you knew who Moonlight Graham was.
Timothy Busfield.
Yeah, so he is kind of now more in the behind-the-scenes role, director, producer type of person. And a couple of years ago, he was involved in a television show. I can't remember exactly what the name of the show was, but there were these young boys that were on the set.
Lady.
The cleaning lady. Thank you. And he was accused of inappropriately touching them. Now, initially, this case was reported. It was nothing was pursued by the police. They looked at it and they couldn't find evidence of wrongdoing, and so they said, we're done here. Now, since then, allegedly new evidence, something new has been presented.
A separate allegation came forward from a different individual.
And whatever that was, then re-triggered what they had looked at before and said, okay, now there's enough to get a warrant to apprehend this guy. Now, a lot of people are saying that these kids were dismissed from the show, and this is some sort of retaliation from the mother being mad about the kids getting dismissed from the show. Well, they issue this warrant to get Busfield. Nobody knows where he's at. And he's disappeared, and the marshals are getting involved.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, after 3 days, he randomly pops up. I think it was TMZ had the video. And I don't know if he did it for them or just ended up with them first or whatever. But he's like, hey, I don't understand what the big deal was. I'm here in New Mexico. I had to drive from Los Angeles to turn myself in. It was 2,000 miles. I had to get an attorney. Wasn't running from anybody. I'm here. And people are going, wait a second. If that was your plan, normally when you're going to turn yourself in, your attorney will call the local prosecutor. Hey, the guy lives X amount of miles away. It's going to take him 3 days to get there. He'll arrange to turn himself in on such and such a day. Okay, cool. But it sounded like none of that had happened because they were alleging they didn't know where he was at, and that's why they got the marshals involved. So that's weird. It's weird that the police initially let this thing go, and then they come back and say there's enough. That's weird. And now he has turned himself in. He was in court yesterday, and he is going to be held for now without bond. His attorney appeared, he was there in person. The attorney appeared via some sort of virtual Zoom or whatever it was, and it sounds like in 5 business days,
right,
he's going to have some sort of hearing to determine if he gets out on bond
Yeah,
or
the
not.
judge ordered that there be a hearing within 5 days. He did not enter a plea while he was there.
Yeah, and I think that's all pretty standard. I don't think there's anything to read into any of that. The big thing is going to be, because the state has essentially requested that he not be able, at least for now, to get out and be released and be out into decent society. And so that's going to be interesting. You may get a little bit of an idea on what evidence they actually have against him. I'm not saying you're going to get full details, but you may get to hear some of that coming up in this hearing where they talk about whether he can get out on bond or not, because that'll probably play into whether the preponderance of the evidence, right, or the evidence that's presented, or whether this judge lets him go.
So his wife is Melissa Gilbert, famous actress from Little House on the Prairie. That's what she was. She was president of SAG for a long time as well. And her representation is saying that she's standing by her man.
Well, he issued a forceful denial. And of course, that means absolutely nothing. See Bill Clinton, right? But I mean, but some of this stuff on both sides just doesn't make sense to me. I think everybody should keep an open mind on it, see what the evidence is, because both sides of this coin do not seem to be adding up, and there seems to be something very off about this.
Well, there were allegations of this going back a few years. I believe it was 2022, and Warner Brothers hired an independent investigator to determine whether there was something there or not, and they found no, nothing was there.
Well, it relates to, like, he tried to say that he tickled these kids on the set or something. And look, everybody responds differently, but if there had been an allegation against you that you had inappropriately touched a child, wouldn't you just refrain from touching or being around all kids? Like, wouldn't you keep a 50-foot distance at all time? Hey, somebody tried to get me on this before. I got out of it. I'm just not even going to get any near anybody.
Completely above reproach. Well, the investigator that Warner Brothers hired said that he was never alone with the boys on the set. So there was never an opportunity for anything inappropriate to happen.
Well, we'll see, right? Yeah. I mean, the police clearly have something that they felt was warranted him being charged, but, things get dismissed all the time. See Duke Lacrosse, you get rogue prosecutors. Who knows what's going on here? It'll be fascinating to see what comes out.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Pat Sullivan here, ringing in the new year with peace of mind, knowing my friends at Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling are the only ones I have to call for all my home service needs. Hope rolled into 2026 with a shocking bang, adding electrical to their list of services, and now they're my one-stop shop for any home service issue that may arise. So if any plumbing, HVAC, or electrical problem happens in your home, call who I call, my friends at Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling.
Serving Indiana means being ready for growing energy demands. At Duke Energy, we're adding more power to the grid and working on hundreds of local projects to make your energy more reliable. We've strengthened nearly 20,000 poles, updated more than 270 substations, and prevented hundreds of thousands of outage hours with self-healing grid technology, so your power can come back on faster than ever. That's the smarter energy future Indiana deserves. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Mark Deedle. The Indianapolis real estate market is strong, but it is not easy. Now is a good time to sell only if you hire a real estate team that knows how to aggressively market your home like Mark Deedle Realty. Maybe you want a fast, guaranteed, no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Deedle guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Michael in Speedway had to say about working with Mark Deedle. I loved my Speedway home, and I raised my family there, but it was time to sell and downsize. I met with the Mark Deedle team, and they explained their amazing marketing plan, and I was convinced. Just like the Speedway, things moved fast from there. After just 3 days on the market, I accepted an offer for $11,000 over my asking price. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Deedle at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdeedle.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
Hey, it's Tyrese Halliburton. I've met some incredible people right here in Indiana, all waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. Different backgrounds, different stories, but they all had one thing in common: hope. Saying yes to organ donation provides that hope. One organ donor can save up to 8 lives. That's 8 families who get more time together. You have the power to save lives. So next time you're at the BMV, or even right now at DonateLifeIndiana.org, say yes to organ donation.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Casey and the Sunshine Band, live at Old National Center, January 23rd at 7:30 p.m. It's the ultimate throwback party. Get your tickets today at WIBC.com.
Okay, here's another example that we can't solve any real problems, so we're gonna go after some things that we won't even be able to fix, but we'll pass a law so you think we're gonna fix them.
Mm-hmm.
Did that make sense? Or should we go into more detail?
I think we should go into a little bit more detail.
All right,
possibly. Are we talking about the breaded pork tenderloin bill again?
So we're talking
This is
about
something different.
Indiana Capitol Chronicle has the article. By the way, Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle will be with us next hour. There is a bill moving its way through the Indiana General Assembly, which would require, it's called the Paid Protester Bill. And basically, this is
it paid protester or?
Yes, Paid Protester Lobbying Bill advances to Senate with substantial edits expected. That's the headline. And basically, what it's going to do is target people who pay people to come and protest. See COVID, where people were caught on camera during the riots telling, these journalists or whatever, or people that they didn't know were filming them, I got paid by so-and-so, and it was X amount of dollars, so I'm just here to cause havoc on behalf of, whatever group or organization they were bragging about, And so this bill, if it moves forward, would require anybody, someone who, let's just read the language, someone who encourages another person to engage in an influence campaign and pays that person at least $500 in a year would be required to file with the Indiana Lobby Registration Commission within 24 hours of handing over the cash.
So this would go to political influencers as well, meaning Turning Point USA would have to file as lobbyists, right?
If they're paying people to show up. Now, like we had our property tax rally. We said we're going to be there at such and such a time, on such and such a day. If you'd like to show up, we'll be there, and the fine folks from this group or that group or whatever will be there, and no, we would not have been required. We were not handing out money to come to the protest.
Clearly. Because our budget is very small.
Right, our budget is zero.
We don't have money to barely pay ourselves, let alone anyone else.
That's right. So this is an attempt to crack down on that. And again, it's a priority thing, right? Like, okay, first of all, who's going to be in charge of enforcing it? We don't even enforce a lot of laws we have now. And this is the thing that you're going to focus your time on. Okay, but aren't there more pressing issues that we're not, not even are we not getting solutions, we're not even addressing them anymore. And so it seems like we're checking a box rather than actually solving a problem.
Do you think that this stems from all of the heated conversations that happened over redistricting?
Well, there was no proof that I saw that anybody was paid to be there on either side. I don't know. Maybe they were. Maybe somebody can point to, because you always hear these people are clearly paid. I don't know, Casey. I was there for certainly the big deal, the day people were testifying. That state house was full of people. I was wandering around the whole time. I didn't hear anybody. And if you're going to have 500 people somewhere, the idea of keeping a secret is pretty ludicrous. I didn't hear anybody talking about getting paid or being paid or anybody else being paid. And the same thing on the other side, the people who are for redistricting, I know a bunch of those people who spoke. Now, those people are naive enough to think that they're going to curry favor with the governor. Oh, we got to go have tea and cookies with Micah and Braun. What a great treat to get to come here. If they're stupid enough to fall for that, which based on Braun's State of the State, how's that working out for you? But if you want to be stupid enough to fall for that, it doesn't make you a paid protester. It just makes you naive and gullible, and that's okay.
So this bill says that it would regulate influence campaigns, which are meant to mobilize the public, encourage people to contact state officials, and also organize protests. So does that mean somebody like Scott Pressler, who was in Plainfield and all over Indiana a few days ago, that he would have to register as a lobbyist then?
Well, obviously there will be all sorts of complaints filed if this bill passes, and I'm sure once it hits in this case, the full Senate, or if it comes over to the full House, it's one of the things they're going to have to work through is you're going to just open the door for all sorts of complaints to be filed against people, and then you're going to create, and this is what I come back to, you're checking a box to the public or your base or going, oh, look, we're cracking down on this. But the lawmakers do this all the time, where they essentially take a dump in the middle of somebody's living room and go, well, somebody better clean that up, because they don't have to do it. It's all these people who work for the state, these employees who already have too much to do, who are now going to have something else added to their plate to enforce this. And unless you have razor clear language, you're right. A guy like that.
Well, right, because if you're trying to mobilize the public and have them contact state representation, whether it's for good or for bad, that language has to be clear.
Right. The other thing, this is the most state thing ever. Casey, I don't know if you know this, but we don't have ranked choice voting in Indiana. You vote for one person, and that's your vote, and you go. To my knowledge, we've never had ranked choice voting, certainly not in my lifetime. It's certainly never been an issue. But this same panel that is moving forward with this paid protester bill, they also passed a bill to ban something that's not happening in ranked choice voting. That's how they're spending their time. Don't have ranked voting.
So they're worrying about something that doesn't even exist.
No serious proposal that I'm aware of with any sort of momentum to have ranked choice voting, and yet we're passing a law to ban ranked choice voting even though it doesn't exist.
Kind of reminds me of the commission to get Illinois as part of Indiana.
That's right, yes. They're never coming. There's no mechanism, there's no viable mechanism by which what Casey's referencing, for those of you who may not be aware, is earlier this year there was a commission formed to try to annex 33 counties from Illinois into Indiana. Of course, the state of Illinois is saying we're never letting go of these counties, which they would have to do. The federal government would then have to sign off on it. There's no way you're going to get a 2/3 majority to allow that to happen. Oh, and by the way, these counties are completely split up. There's no contiguity with them. So economically, infrastructure, there's no way it would make any sense. And then, of course, Bo Baird was caught on an interview with Breitbart laughing about it, just saying Bo Baird is a state rep. You remember him. State rep, Putnam County.
Yes.
He's the guy who got the OWI that was able to hide from public scrutiny for a long time because conveniently his name and address were entered incorrectly into the register. He was caught on Breitbart laughing about it, saying, "Yeah, we're never doing that."
Publicity stuff.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the same thing, though.
Yeah. So your state general assembly, as they often are, not solving any real problems, just solving invented problems.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
It's time. You've been putting off that kitchen or bath remodel long enough. What are you waiting for? Get started today with Boer Remodeling. Boer Remodeling customer Kathy had a bath remodel with Boer. Kathy, talk a little bit about your experience.
Our experience with Boer has been terrific. The process was so easy and seamless. When we decided to do a larger remodel of our first floor, Boer was the first company we thought of hiring.
And were you happy with the results?
The results are amazing, and we are so happy with our home and the work that Boer did.
Peter is another recent Boer Remodeling customer with a new kitchen. Peter, what was the best part about working with Boer?
We especially liked the active participation that we were able to have in selection of stone for the countertops. Really came out beautiful. The cabinets also came out very, very well.
The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. They'll guide you through the entire process. Start with a free consultation. Talk to Boer Remodeling today. That's BOOHER, BoerRemodeling.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds, and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day, and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food. Crazy. Enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99. Destroy unwanted cravings. January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking at 8. Or January 31st, Holiday Inn Express Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking at 2. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
In 2 minutes from the Dugan Air Heating and Cooling Mitsubishi Electric Studios, what office a former city county council president is now running for, how the governor sees data centers as a tool in the state, where a woman was shot and killed last night in Indy, and who won, who lost on the court last night in college hoops, as well as in the NBA. Could the Pacers extend their winning streak? You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HG1 Indianapolis. Time for Fox News. It's 10 o'clock.
A warning from the White House. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After another night of protests in Minneapolis and clashes with police, and people even angry over another ICE-involved shooting, though Mayor Jacob Fry, who wants ICE out of Minneapolis, told them to go home.
For those that have peacefully protested, I applaud you. For those that are taking the bait, you are not helping.
Homeland Security says the federal officer shot an illegal immigrant in the leg after he and 2 others had fought the agent, and Fox's Jeff Manasso reports.
President Trump on Truth Social threatening to potentially take control of the Minnesota National Guard and send in the troops, saying if the corrupt politicians of Minnesota don't obey the law, then stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE.
The U.S. military seized yet another oil tanker in the Caribbean that the Trump administration says had ties to Venezuela and was under sanctions. In a few hours, a woman who was jailed for fighting for democracy in Venezuela will go to the White House.
Despite leading Venezuela's opposition movement and winning the Nobel Peace Prize for those efforts, Maria Corina Machado has not emerged as President Trump's preferred choice to lead Venezuela. Instead, the president praises acting president Delcy Rodriguez, who was vice president for the ousted Nicolas Maduro.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. After Iran's deadly crackdown on protests left more than 2,000 people reportedly dead, President Trump says he's told the killings have stopped.
And the Washington Post reports that in recent days, Israel used Russia to back-channel a message to Iran that it would not strike the country if Israel wasn't attacked first. Iran, for its part, is blaming all of this on an Israeli plot that some rogue terrorist actors are shooting civilians to draw the U.S. into this.
Fox's Aisha Hasni at the White House. A federal appeals court has just overturned a ruling that set Mahmoud Khalil free from an immigration jail as the Trump administration keeps pushing to deport the activist who led pro-Palestinian protests at Columbia University in New York. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Seeking a different office. Cloudy and 20 will be cloudy all day with a high at just 26. I'm Jarrett Lewis. It's now 10:02. The former president of the Indianapolis City County Council is announcing a run for mayor.
I'm Bob Osley. I'm running for mayor, and I'm asking you to draw that future with me.
In a video put out this morning on social media, Osley said he'll seek that office next year. He's a Democrat and has served on the City County Council for the last 14 years, including 8 as council president. Data centers, a topic of conversation at Governor Mike Braun's State of the State address Wednesday night. Here's John Herrick.
Braun believes that AI is going to be the key to the jobs of the future, but he says data centers can't stick Hoosiers with the power bill. And you can look no further on that than Amazon.
Amazon, for example, is building a $15 billion data center in Northwest Indiana. They're going to pay for every cent of that new power. They're willing to do it and then some.
He says if other companies follow this model, then Indiana will lead the country in the AI race and your electricity rates will go down. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A woman is dead after being shot on the south side of Indianapolis Wednesday night. IMPD officers responded to the 5000 block of Shelby Street. The woman has not yet been identified, but police did arrest a man suspected of shooting her, identified as 21-year-old Gary Gatewood Jr. Cold air is back and sticking around the state today. The wind is making it feel even colder than what it actually is.
Today, highs in the mid-20s. Friday, highs in the mid to upper 30s. When we get into Saturday, we're back to highs in the mid-20s.
National Weather Service forecaster Earl Breon says parts of central Indiana could see light snow later today into Friday, especially north of Indy. In college hoops last night, the Butler Bulldogs lost again, this time to Xavier 89-75. The Purdue Boilermakers were victorious last night, though. They came from behind to beat Iowa 79-72 in West Lafayette. As for the Pacers, they will look to start a new win streak after falling to the Raptors last night 115-105. Head coach Rick Carlisle says Toronto was more active than they were.
Toronto's a very physical team. They're a hard matchup. They're as physical as any team that we've seen this year. And even without some of their guys, they may even be a little more physical with this group that was out there tonight. Give them credit.
Indiana will stay home into the weekend. They play New Orleans tomorrow night. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey back in 1 minute.
What is the most important thing that'll help you maintain your same lifestyle in retirement? Here's the answer. It's income. That's going to help you maintain your same lifestyle in retirement. When you have a consistent and steady stream of income, it enables you to do all the things you want to do in retirement. Hey, what's going on? It's Hammer and Nigel. And you may not realize it, but there are strategies that could give you a 20% upfront bonus, a strong return that's averaged nearly 10% a year, and it's backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world.
Think of it as creating your own personal pension. Learn more from the retirement guy that we trust, Bill Demery, right here in Indy. Call 317-805-4716. That's 317-805-4716. 317-805-4716, or visit yourretirementguy.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, from one turd bag to another.
Mayor.
Meet the new boss. Same as the old boss.
That race is already heating up, huh?
Bob Osley, Osley,
Mm-hmm.
former president of the Indianapolis City County Council.
Yeah.
Comes out yesterday with a big announcement that he's running for mayor.
Yeah, he's running for mayor, and the new mayor will be chosen in 2027.
Right. So Joe Hogg
We got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
Well, it's going to be interesting because Joe Hogg said is in his third term. He had said this was going to be it for him.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people who believe he's going to run again because the guy is a complete dumpster fire as a human being and is totally unhireable for any sort of any decent, reputable place. Why would they want him? And what else is he going to do? And so there's a lot of people that believe that he will indeed seek a fourth term. And Osley is throwing the first salvo out there saying, I'm going to run. Now, look, nothing's going to change if this guy becomes the mayor because he's been in charge of the city government as the president. for all the things that that are doing have been done. And so you're just looking at this and going, well, whether it's this guy or it's Hogshead again, where is the change necessary in vision and strategy and whatever? Where is that at that this city so desperately needs?
Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. He says he wants Indianapolis to be a world class and globally recognized city, and that he wants a skyline that is recognizable. That's the vision.
And here we go. And this is where we get back into, we call them BSOs, bright, shiny objects, in which the obsession becomes about the bright, shiny object because that gets the headlines and that's the ribbon cutting, rather than doing the nuts and bolts basics of government well. And this city doesn't really do any of them well. Obviously, crime is totally out of control. And, you can hang your hat on, well, it's not as bad as it was the year before. The numbers are still unacceptable. Any reasonable people would think that. You've got the roads, which are a complete disaster. You've got, snow plow every time there's some sort of snow event. You can speak to this better than I can. You're a resident. The roads are just complete trash.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of trash, that's sort of the fourth job of a mayor. I mean, it's it's public safety,
Take
it's
out the
roads,
trash.
it's snow, and it's trash. Those are the four main jobs. I don't know. I don't know if the trash is done well or not. I'm not here dumping trash, but point is that it's clearly number 4 on the list of things you're most thinking about. And so what gets better? What changes? What's going to be different? How do we get Indianapolis out of this, to steal a phrase from Jimmy Carter, this state of malaise that it's entered in? One of the things, and this sounds horrible to say, but one of the things I love about our new building is, one, it has saved me about 10 minutes because I don't have to drive through downtown anymore.
Yeah.
And two, I'm just not subjected to downtown anymore. Not even the drive, just the general stink and depression of it. You go out there during a random weekday, and even if there's not 9 homeless guys laying on the circle, there's just this dystopian feel about it where it used to be hustling and bustling, and there's not nearly as many people, and they don't seem as happy, and it's just so depressing.
Mm-hmm. Osley says that he's going to put his emphasis on neighborhood-led development, and also the downtown area, which you're talking about, and White River revitalization, and that he wants to engage more directly with the General Assembly and do that on infrastructure and the city needs.
Other than asking for more money, what does that even mean, though? Because a big part of this is a complete lack of competency from the city government as a whole. And I just come back to this thing Ryan Hedrick told us. This has been several months ago now. I can't even remember what the scandal with Hogsett was at the time. There's been so many of them. But Ryan Hedrick, who obviously...
Well, it was all the construction.
Was that what it was?
I believe so.
I can't remember what it was. There's been so many of them. It doesn't matter. Ryan Hedrick was in with us from the WIBC newsroom. And, of course, Ryan has been very candid. Him and Matt Bear have this fabulous Supporting Sobriety podcast that they talk about the trials and tribulations with struggles with addiction. And Ryan was telling us Joe Hogsett runs his city, the city that he's in charge of, the same way he ran his life when he was in the throes of addiction. And what he was saying by that is things get started, they never get finished, everything's a mess, everything's unorganized, everything's a dumpster fire. You travel around this city, that's it. That's the city. And again, I don't have to tell you, how long has Washington Street been closed?
It's still under construction.
They built the World Trade Centers
in a shorter amount of time than that bridge.
And I assume it still is under construction.
Part of it's open.
It's utterly ridiculous. You're years on this now. And it is, whether it's Illinois Street or whatever, it's all the things start, they don't get finished, it's all going at the same time. There's nothing about this city right now where you say, that's a city on the move, that's a city on the ascend, that's a place people want to be. And I don't know how this guy who has been, while he's not been the mayor, he's been the council president, is the dude who's going to get it back on track.
He has been criticized for having that former Hogsett campaign staffer, Lauren Roberts, removed from that council meeting. He later apologized for it, but some people are saying the criticisms of him are that he is visibly emotional at times. So you have to ask yourself, does that visible emotion and occasional pause, is that a weakness or is that authenticity and heartfelt leadership?
Well, you don't rise to that level with authenticity and heartfelt leadership. The establishment, the power brokers, they don't allow that, right? This is where
Gotta be cold as ice.
well, this is what we are in our country. I was having this conversation yesterday with somebody, and I said, we just oh, I know what it was. When the mayor of Carmel was there advocating for another tax increase, they want this innkeeper's tax thing to go up so they can build a convention center. And I was telling this person, we were talking about it, and I said, we're a socialist country now. We just don't admit it. We're basically socialism without the routine violence and the gulags. I mean, essentially, you have a tippy-top group of people who make all the money. They utilize and weaponize the government to help them make more money. And we, the peasants, are essentially the people who scrap to put together some sort of middle-class existence to do the bidding of these people. I mean, that's just basically the way it works now. And so you don't get outsiders to rise to levels of power anymore. Just like they'll cut you off. They will stop it. So I am hoping, here's what I'm hoping for next year, Casey, and we'll see if I get this. I'm hoping for two things as it relates to Indianapolis elections. Number one, we need Jesse Brown to run for mayor in the Democrat primary. I think that would be fascinating, given the traction that socialist candidates have had in major metropolitan cities. I think he would do quite well. Could he win? I don't know. But he is honest, at least in his view of things. You ask him a question, he gives you an answer. He cuts the BS. Now, some of his answers are insane, but if you have to tell me I have to deal between a guy who I think is kind of wacky and out there and a little insane on some of his answers and policies and naive, but he's honest and he's a decent human, right? Like his views, he'll tell you. You sit down and talk to him. Or I got to deal with 4 more years of a continuation of Joe Hogshead, which whether it is Hogshead or Osley, I'm going to take the honest guy who's got some views that are out there. I'm going to take it every time.
Well, I don't know. Is Jesse Brown going to start promising things like Mamdani does in New York City?
But the difference is he would try to do them. Like, who has been the most forceful voice against the Hogshead administration? It's been Jesse Brown.
Sure.
Who has been the most forceful voice on the Thomas Carl Cook saga?
Well,
It's been
actually,
Jesse Brown.
I would say it's Jason Hammer.
Well, but I'm saying in terms of the structure, it's not the Republicans. It's not been the 6 or whatever it is Republicans who have been leading against Joe Hogshead. It's been Jesse Brown. The biggest pain in the ass to Joe Hogshead has been the Democrat socialist on the Indianapolis City County Council. The other thing we need, and I don't know if we're going to get this or not, is we need our old pal Indy reporter, Stephen Whitmer, to run for mayor, too, in a general election.
And would he run as a Republican, Libertarian, Democrat?
Well, here's what I'm kind of hoping for, and I don't know what he's going to do. But I feel like if he runs as a Libertarian, then he would be on the stage with whoever the Democrat pick is for the general election debates. And that's what I just need. I need Indy reporter on stage with the Democrat candidate for mayor in Indianapolis.
Not necessarily to win, but just to stir things up.
Oh, he'd have no chance of winning, but that's not what this is about. Audio for days on this program. So those are the two things. The city is not getting fixed. You're not going to see any changes. These are all the same people, just under different names. And so if it's going to be, if the city's going to go to hell, we might as well get some entertainment out of it, right?
How expensive do you think this race will be? Wasn't it, what, $15 million?
Well, that's what Shreve spent. That's his own money. That's not even include Hogshead.
Right.
I mean, who do the Republicans even have? Who would you look at?
Many people are calling for Andrew Ireland to run, state rep.
He would get destroyed.
You think so?
He would get destroyed because he doesn't connect with people. He does not. Look, I go back to that interview you and Jim did with him.
Do you want somebody who connects or do you want somebody who's smart?
Well, do I have to choose?
Apparently.
We're
Apparently.
a million people in this city, and I got to choose
Apparently.
either. Do I have to choose an aloof weirdo who's smart or somebody who connects that's a moron? Do I have to? I can't in a million people.
Preferably you'd have somebody who's smart and connects.
I can't find one person out of a million people.
You running?
Look,
you don't live here.
I don't live here. I'm ineligible.
Jason Hammer running?
Well, Hammer's the sort of guy who could do it, but why would anybody decent want to do it? Given the dumpster fire of what the Marion County Republican Party is and their inability to be competitive on anything, why would any decent person want to run for the mayor of Indianapolis? Unless you're like Jefferson
For
Shreve.
the love of the city,
and
I
you're
guess.
using.
Well, Shreve was using it as a stepping stone. If
Well,
he
exactly.
didn't win, you knew what was going to happen, and it did. It played out exactly like we said it would.
Good people do not run for public office because it ain't worth the hassle. And when you have a party, in this case the Marion County Republican Party, who is totally inept, who is totally ineffective, it's not just that they don't raise money or put good candidates for it. They don't even fight. On most things, they agree with Hogsett. On most things, WIBC is the opposition to Joe Hogsett because the Republican Party on the city county council just goes along with whatever he says.
Well, they're like the Democrat Party in the General Assembly.
It's over
They
for
can't win that
Indianapolis.
fight. Okay, so Osley may have some competition. There's rumors that Andrea Hunley could be running as well.
Oh, I think you're going to see several people get in, especially if Hogsett decides not to run for another term. You know, I definitely wouldn't rule out Ryan Mears running. And
right.
look, I think the move of Chris Bailey, the IMPD chief, who took this job as the chief of staff for Hogsett, tells you that he's reading the tea leaves, that it's going to be somebody there in 28 that he's going to be working with. You don't leave the job as chief of police for some, mostly political position, right? If you don't think that job's going to be there in a couple of years. So he's telling you by that nothing's going to change. Don't look at the words, look at the actions of these people. And he's telling you that he thinks it's going to be the status quo.
We're going to hear from Nikki Kelly next. She is from the Indiana Capital Chronicle, and we'll get her take on what Governor Braun had to say last night on his State of the State address.
Plus,
yeah,
maybe, finally,
yeah.
perhaps, probably not, but maybe. Township governments might finally be going away.
Oh, right. We'll talk about that. It's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Solutions come and go. Big Ten wins, you earn those.
Norton in the corner. Bingo!
Big Ten basketball means tougher defenses, louder buildings, and zero margin for error. Coach Darren DeVries has the Hoosiers ready for the work.
Our mindset has to be, regardless of shots falling, our defense has to keep us in the game.
Up next, IU versus Iowa, Saturday at 2. No fluff, no filler. Hoosier basketball on 93 WIBC.
A house or business fire is something you never want to think of. But should it happen, think fast. Think Michaelis. Over 35 years of rebuilding lives and spirits at the same time. No one comes more respected or as fast. Trust the ones the insurance companies trust. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text RULE to 215215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text RULE to 215215. That's RULE to 215215. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This hour powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard Air dealer. Nobody cares for you like family.
So the State of the State came and went, and I don't think we got anything out of it. Let's find out what the pros have to say. One of the best in the business joins us now, Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capital Chronicle. Nikki Kelly, hello.
Good morning.
All right, so we talked about this earlier on in the program. I feel like you got not much in terms of new vision. He tried to put a good spin, he being Braun, on the last year that a lot of people are disappointed with. I thought it was kind of a stinker of a speech. What say you?
I think I would say subdued. I mean, there just wasn't a lot of meat there. I mean, there were the typical, here's the things we did good. But in addition to that, there wasn't sort of what's next. That was this part of the speech, I think, that was maybe a little lacking.
Is that normal in a short session year, right? You normally don't get as much big policy. Is that normal to have that lack of policy initiatives in a short session speech?
I don't think so. Like I remember covering Mitch Daniels, and he would say, "Look, there's no session that we can, sit on the sidelines for." And so, but I do think the whole redistricting debate sort of sucked up the oxygen for months. So maybe a lot of the prep work that would have usually gone into a more extensive, agenda wasn't there. And also, lawmakers are just, I don't know, they're just not in the mood to be there this year. And so, so I just think everyone wants to, they're obviously still working a lot of bills, and we'll get some good bills that are passed, but it's just not on, there's no speed or sort of momentum moving this year.
Yeah, it sort of seemed like, and look, you've covered a lot more of these than I've watched, right? So maybe you'll say, no, Rob, you're making this up. But when Beckwith introduced him, it did not seem like there was this robust, enthusiastic applause that we normally get from a State of the State address, or am I just imagining that?
I mean, when he first came in the room, all the lawmakers stood, and there's the long part where they clap, and he, shakes everyone's hands going down. That was very normal. However, through the rest of the speech, the applause was kind of tepid. The only two times that it was very enthusiastic was for law enforcement mentions, and then also some chanting for the Hoosiers there at the end. So, but, like I said, it just sort of goes with the whole feel and tenor of the session this year. And I think also because they're ending a couple weeks early, to make up for the time they spent on redistricting, I think everyone's just like, let's get this done.
Nikki Kelly from the Indiana Capital Chronicle, our guest. One more thing, and then I'll let Casey hop in here. He was very big on the Bears last night. There's no chance the Bears are going to ham in Indiana, is there? I mean, is he setting up unreasonable expectations at this point?
Well, I wouldn't say he's very big on it. He made one I think technically two sentences, and the whole speech mentioned the Bears. So obviously he's trying to attract some attention to it. I think everyone thought when this first came out, this was a move by the Bears to try to leverage some movement there in Illinois, but heck, Indiana has a lot to offer, and so they're going to take their chances and see what they can do. I think there was a report earlier this week that the NFL commissioner was in Indiana looking at sites, so I think that shows it's a little more serious than some people might take it.
Hey, Nikki, a couple questions. It seemed to me that the length of it was very short. In regards to past State of the States and of the past, was this one in line with other ones, or was it shorter in your opinion?
No, yeah, it was half hour. I think technically 28 minutes if, they allow for some applause. That's the normal time. I mean, they moved it back from 7 to 7:30. And from Tuesday to a Wednesday. But other than that, it seemed pretty normal.
He had mentioned some specific bills, and he was pointing out people that were in the congregation. Was he picking bills that he knows are going to pass?
I mean, some of them probably will in some format. I mean, when you pick a priority bill, the House Republicans, that's going to pass. Whether it's in the same format it was filed is another thing. I would say that was the most interesting part of it is, usually a governor crafts their own vision and bills, and they draft them, and they find lawmakers to carry their priorities. This was more like, hey, I think medical debt is awful, and we need to deal with that. And there's a medical debt bill, so I'm going to support the medical debt bill, Similar for housing affordability or for utilities. Now, I will give him credit on utilities. He's been talking that up for, easily the past year, and clearly using all the executive powers he has to do that. But it was just a different approach than bringing your own specific ideas and plans versus, just looking at some of the bills that are moving and saying you support them.
Couple minutes left with Nikki Kelly from the Capitol Chronicle. You guys had a couple articles on this now. It appears like there is at least some momentum, finally, after 20 years, on doing something with township government. Am I just getting my hopes up here, or is there a chance we're going to see some meaningful change to township government in Indiana?
I think there's a chance. I think, over the years, there have been numerous studies and reports, and I think the problem for townships is that there's a fair amount of examples in which the township trustee's office does very little and, except pay their staff. And so that, I think, is a fair question to bring up. And you can argue that, well, a few bad apples are coloring us, but, that's existed for a long time and doesn't seem to be changing.
It seems like usually when these township bills come out, there's this Township Trustees Association. They come out in full force. Are they doing that again this time? It doesn't seem like at least they're getting the headlines for the organized opposition they usually have.
Oh, yeah, they were there. They testified as they normally do, and trying to defend their usefulness and then talk through some of the more logistical reasons not to support the bill. It got out of committee, so we'll see from there. But it's, we've been having this discussion for so long, maybe this is finally the year.
Yeah. All right. Real quick before I let you go, you guys had an interesting article. We talked about it yesterday with the tax code, where the state of Indiana is basically saying that they are not, in some capacity, going to match the federal tax changes that came out of last year's legislation. Like, there's a lot of money on the line here if Indiana matches the federal tax code. Can you just explain that to us real quick?
Yeah, so basically, for instance, this is the easiest one to understand, but think of like 50 or so of these provisions that we would, quote, conform to. So if the federal government starts saying we're not going to tax overtime and tips, that obviously changes your federal tax return, right? So the question is, will the state conform? Will we not tax overtime and tips, that kind of thing? So, and yes, it's obviously helpful to Hoosiers, but it means we lose revenue for the state that we've already built budgets on. And so those are the provisions we're talking about. There were a ton of them in that one big, beautiful bill act. They all cost different things. The one big one they've said before so far, and they're still debating a bunch of the others, is they're probably not going to do this large production tax credit for businesses. I mean, it has a $300 million price tag. And so I think they've decided that one is just not doable right now, but they're considering a bunch of the other ones.
IndianaCapitalChronicle.com is the website. She's one of the best in the business. Nikki Kelly, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Will he do something about it? I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending now at 10:30. President Trump is considering his options to take against Iran as the country is going after anti-government protesters. Iranian officials signaled on Wednesday that fast trials and possible executions are planned for the suspects who have been detained, with the Islamic Republic promising retaliation if the U.S. does choose to intervene. Republican Montana Senator Tim Sheehy tells Fox's America's Newsroom that he would support the president if he does decide to take military action.
It's not our job to go and conduct regime change, but we should help these people take out the trash. And I think I fully support the president's action. But as he decides to get involved and help tip the scales here, it's high time we finally get rid of this murderous regime. We've been placating them for far too long.
The U.S.-based human rights activist news agency now reports more than 2,600 people have been killed so far. More protesting in Minnesota after an ICE agent opened fire on a migrant Wednesday. Fox's Matt Finn is in Minneapolis.
Last night, the word of another
another shooting spreads through the streets. When our crew got to the site, there was already a well-organized, very angry protest. Some of these rioters apparently ripped a weapons locker from a vehicle believed to be used by immigration agents. DHS says this all began when immigration agents were conducting a targeted traffic stop of an illegal migrant from Venezuela. They say the man tried to escape, crashed his car, and then ran. At one point, 2 other people ganged up on the officer. DHS writes, as the officer was being ambushed and attacked by the 2 individuals, the original subject got loose and began striking the officer with a shovel or broomstick.
And DHS says the officer fired defensive shots and hit the suspect in the leg. New claims for unemployment benefits declining by 9,000 last week. Continuing claims also dropped to 1.8 million. And late conservative activist Charlie Kirk will be honored by Israel with an award at the International Conference on Combating Anti-Semitism. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for helping us to another record year. We recently saved a 62-year-old retiring couple over $800 monthly when compared to their COBRA offerings. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 monthly when compared to their $7,500 deductible program on the ACA, and you know that's still Obamacare. We recently saved a small 4-man manufacturing company over $1,000 monthly and gave them better coverage. We feature coverages guaranteed to age 65, low out-of-pocket expenses, the largest networks in the country, and you can sign up anytime. If you are retiring early, self-employed, or need coverage for your small group, call us at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. What do you got to lose? Call us 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. As always, God bless America, common sense government, and peace through strength.
Hey, it's Tyrese Halliburton. I care about Indiana and the people who live here. We look out for each other, and sometimes that means stepping up in ways we don't always think about. Saying yes to organ donation, that's one of those ways. For real, just one organ donor can save 8 lives. That means your yes could give someone more time with family, more experiences with loved ones, more life. When you say yes to organ donation, you have the power to save lives.
A diagnosis of Alzheimer's can make it a struggle to communicate with loved ones. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. In a moment, I've got a tip which often helps that will be music to your ears. Don't go away.
Cardon & Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. Visit cardon.us to find a community near you.
A growing number of studies show the power of music's role in those living with Alzheimer's. The next time a loved one seems to be tuned out, gently place headphones on them or simply turn on one of their favorite songs. Watch their eyes light up, and don't be surprised if they sing along or start chatting about the tune. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Trust our family to take care of your family. Call us today for our family maintenance plan at 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
For 22 years, Exercise Inc. has helped Hoosiers build muscle, lose weight, and transform their health, creating lifelong habits. Only takes 20 minutes once a week. Visit exerciseinc.com.
This Iran, flock of seagulls.
Iran.
Do you go with Iran or Iran?
Iran. I used to say
Iran or Iran?
Iran.
So far away. And
I ran to Iraq and then I ran back.
I could not get away.
Yeah. It's very much like
Kev's in there laughing hysterically.
I got the reference.
That's good stuff right there.
Yeah. He should have used that song as a bumper.
Yeah,
bumper
we should have
song.
done that. Yeah. Anyway, whatever they are, they're a menace.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can all agree with that. This feels like it's escalating, though. Like it really feels like we're moving carriers into the region.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're moving carriers. We presume that is to be into the region. And you've got clearly, it appears that violence is still taking place in the streets despite directives from the president for that to stop. it's very hard to get accurate information out of that country. It's very similar to like a North Korea because they just shut everything off. You're dealing with a bunch of insane people. And at some point, if, that bunker buster bomb that we threw down on them several months ago didn't stop them, you either got to just decide we're escalating to full scale engagement or we're just going to let it go.
Well, you had Donald Trump saying help is on the way. He didn't elaborate on any of the specifics. And then just yesterday, he said that he had it on good authority that the killing of protesters in Iran had stopped or was stopping. He also stated that there were no plans for executions.
We have been notified and pretty strongly, but we'll find out what that all means. But we've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping. It's stopped. It's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions. So I've been told that a good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset, including you will be very upset. But that's just gotten to me, some information that the killing has stopped, that the executions have stopped. They're not going to have an execution, which a lot of people were talking about for the last couple of days. Today was going to be the day of execution.
So CBS News was reporting that there have been at least 12,000 deaths, possibly up to 20,000. But then you have Lindsey Graham, who says that the regime is still killing protesters. So he's contradicting what Trump said.
Look, they're still killing people.
Mhm.
Okay, I mean, what rational person thinks that, oh, they just decided they're going to stop? Trump said stop, so they're going to. No, you're dealing with insane people. I mean, we've been at this with these people for almost 50 years now, like active turmoil related to Iran and the Iranian regimes. And so I just think you're going to have to make the choice at some point. You can't negotiate with them. How many times have we tried? How many billions of dollars have we given these people? And here they are. It doesn't work. They're insane psychopaths. They're religious fanatics. They are arguably the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism.
Mhm.
They hate us. They hate freedom. They hate the American way of life. They hate people who associate with us. And so whether that is giving stuff to Israel to be able to do it, whether it's us engaging in, these covert type operations on a much larger scale than what we saw, several months ago, you're going to have to do something or just say we're done and we're just going to let them operate as is because the talking simply doesn't work. They are just not going to respond to any sort of reason or incentive-laden plan put in front of them.
So when Donald Trump was asked about military action, if that was off the table, he said, we're going to watch and see what the process is. And then the Trump administration kind of indicated that they had a range of options, including military strikes or even cyber operations. Yesterday, you had that big Verizon outage across the country, and I saw so many people online saying, here we go. This is the start of it. The two were connected on some level. But then, Rob, you've got Rolling Stone magazine saying that Trump is going to have a hard time winning in Iran.
Oh, Rolling Stone said it.
So, when you want to go to your geopolitical experts, isn't Rolling Stone magazine the first one you go to?
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly over for us if Rolling Stone magazine said, I go back to that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of it's legitimate. I don't know how much of it is hyperbole. I don't know how much is exaggeration. I don't know how much of it is the guy was in a tumultuous event and he doesn't recall all of it properly. But that guy in Venezuela, the guy that was part of Maduro's security force, and him describing what that capture of Maduro was like and the military, military engagement that took place and the things that were used and the sound waves and all. I mean, you realize the U.S. military can do whatever it wants to do.
Mhm.
And if we want to take Iran out, if we want to cripple the Iranian regime, then we're going to have the ability to do that. But you got to make, at some point, Case, you and I were talking about this on a different topic not that long ago. at some point, you just got to make a decision and go with it. If you're in a bad spot, you can't just drag it out forever. You can't just let the feelings fester. You got to just say your piece, and then whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Right.
And that's sort of where they're at. And I think relatively soon you're going to see some sort of action take place because talking with these people simply does not work.
Okay, so now we have to turn our attention to what's going on with Greenland. Greenland? Greenland. Or
We
is it
can't
not-
do this on everyone, Casey. We got to be more
Okay.
judicious.
Okay, so they had talks yesterday, and Denmark and the U.S., they disagree on the future of that country.
Big time.
Yeah. Well, they said that the discussions, they were described as frank but constructive.
Okay. So
I was about to say destructive. No, not yet.
well,
Constructive.
okay, your husband works in the collectibles world.
Mhm.
So oftentimes, I'm sure he has been on both ends of this, where either he has a collectible or he sees a collectible that someone would like to acquire from him or he would like to acquire from someone else. How does that work? You make an offer.
It's a negotiation.
The person then either accepts or rejects. You go back and forth. But really, it's not even about a negotiation because it'd be if your husband saw a magazine he wanted and he makes an offer and the guy goes, no, it's not for sale. Well, but what if no, man, it doesn't matter. It's not for sale. Like this means too much to me, whatever, for whatever reason, it's not for sale. If your husband your husband just didn't have an option then. The guy's not interested in selling it. But this would be the equivalent of your husband then going over to that person's house, kicking down their door and just going, well, I'll just take it then.
Mhm.
That's sort of where we're at, right? Denmark has the right to decide. That's their country. They can decide what happens to Greenland. They said they're not interested in selling. They're not interested in giving it away. They're not interested in what the United States is offering. So Trump's going to either have to decide, I'm going to escalate to the point where I'm kicking the guy's door down and taking the magazine.
I'm going to take it.
Or just have to say, well, that didn't work out. Maybe something else in the future. And it seems like, at least from a posturing standpoint, the U.S. is considering knocking down the guy's door and just taking the magazine.
Okay, so the Trump administration said that the U.S. needs Greenland for the Golden Dome project and also for NATO effectiveness. But when he was asked about it, will we take Greenland by force? He said no.
Right now, it sounds like you are saying that you would potentially acquire Greenland by force. That would be a NATO country.
Well, you're saying that.
Are you saying that? Would you do that?
No, you're saying that.
Would you
I
acquire
didn't
that by
say it.
force
No,
right
you're
now?
telling me that that's what I'm
I
going
think
to do.
we're-
You don't know what I'm going to do.
So what are the options?
Your
then?
network
Because
doesn't know either.
The Danish foreign minister said that there's still fundamental differences after the meeting with Rubio and with the vice president. Are you willing to leave the NATO alliance in order to get what you want with Greenland? What are the options right
Well,
now?
I wouldn't be telling you what I'm willing to do, certainly. I'm not going to give up options, but it's very important. Greenland's very important for the national security, including of Denmark. And the problem is, there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it if Russia or China wants to occupy Greenland. But there's everything we can do. You found that out last week with Venezuela. There's everything we can do about things such as that. Not going to happen. We're not, I can't rely on Denmark being able to fend themselves off. They were talking about they put an extra dog, and they were serious about this. They put an extra dog sled there last month. They added a second dog sled. That's not going to do the trick.
Denmark fought alongside the United States.
It's
in
a
that
very
conflict.
unpopular
That I appreciate
idea.
it.
But there's a new Reuters Ipsos poll that came out, and it says only 17% of U.S. adults approve of the push to acquire Greenland, and 47% disapprove.
Well-
and only 4% want military options.
Well, you ever have a friend who's about to do something like kind of silly, or there's something they should be doing, and you're trying to give them advice, right? Hey, you really should, whatever. And they don't take it. Well, that's frustrating, but that's their life. They can choose not to take it. In the case of Trump with Greenland or the U.S. with Greenland, sure. Would it be in their interest to have some sort of relationship with the United States, some sort of guaranteed defense mechanism, whatever? Probably. But if they don't see it or they don't think it,
They're not going to get on board with
all
it.
you can do is offer that, and you start really, okay, Venezuela, we're doing that. Okay, Greenland, we're exploring doing that. Okay, Iran, we're exploring doing that. People start seeing this, right or wrong, as a continuation of interventionalism from the U.S. In terms of foreign policy. They have not seen fruitful results of that in a post-World War II U.S. government. And so, yeah, they're going to recoil against it. Is Trump wrong? No, he's not wrong. He's absolutely right. It probably would be very helpful to numerous things he wants to do. Probably would be very helpful to the United States on numerous fronts related to foreign policy and defense of this country. There is no dispute about that. But there's probably lots of countries where that would be the case. And you can't invade every single country. And so, again, it comes back to, unless you're willing to just knock down the guy's door and take it by force, you're just not going to get the country.
More Republicans are open to the idea than Democrats. Democrats overwhelmingly oppose the idea. 40% of Republicans approve of it. But you got to wonder, is it because they're just supporting Donald Trump?
Yes.
Or is it because they really think that's a good idea for the country?
What would the polling be if Biden were still president?
Right, if it were somebody else.
Right. What would
or even a different Republican president.
Well, then that gets you, and I know we got to get to a break here, but that gets you back into the idea that we talk about of people not really having most people set of core convictions in terms of their politics. Well, my side did it, so it's good. Well, but what if the opposite side did the exact same thing? Well, then they would think it's bad. And unless you are able to walk through life with some sort of core set of beliefs to guide you, then you're always just going to be ping-ponging based on who's in power rather than the policy itself, and thus you keep getting bad public policy.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel Show, Rob Kendall going off the rails, lots of laughs, lots of fun. Starts at 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, BOOHER, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. BOOHER, BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
Hey, the Indianapolis real estate market is strong, but it's not easy. Now is a good time to sell, only if you hire a real estate team that knows how to aggressively market your home like Mark Dietel Realty. Perhaps you're worried with the challenging market you won't sell your home for the price it's worth. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Neil in Indianapolis had to say about working with Mark Dietel. I had already moved and listed my old home with an agent friend for 60 days. Not happy, I decided to evaluate the Mark Dietel marketing plan, and I switched. To my relief, after about 15 days on the market, the Mark Dietel team sold my home as is for the price I needed. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
Serving Indiana means being ready for growing energy demands. At Duke Energy, we're adding more power to the grid and working on hundreds of local projects to make your energy more reliable. We've strengthened nearly 20,000 poles, updated more than 270 substations, and prevented hundreds of thousands of outage hours with self-healing grid technology, so your power can come back on faster than ever. That's the smarter energy future Indiana deserves. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
Hammer and Nigel here for Premier Weight Loss Indy, PWLindy.com, 2 different locations. And look, everybody is somewhere different in their health journey. People aren't the same, and treatments should not be the same. This is why I love Premier Weight Loss Indy. It's an in-person visit. You're going to get a consultation with a professional, and they will customize a plan specifically for you. Again, no plans are the same because people are not the same. So if you really want to take your health to the next level this year, start by going online to PWLindy.com. I lost a bunch of weight of my own, but then I hit a plateau and I couldn't lose anymore. I reached out for help. Premier Weight Loss Indy jumped in the mix. And now I'm down 16 additional pounds in 2 months. PWLindy.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. Take care of your health.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
We Grow Hair Indie. WeGrowHairIndie.com. That could be the key. One little website, WeGrowHairIndie.com. That could be the key to all your hopes and dreams coming true. If, of course, your hopes and dreams were more hair on the top of your head and more confidence every time you look in the mirror. I made the choice 5 years ago to head over to We Grow Hair Indie, and every time I look in the mirror, so glad I did. Here's how it works. You call today, 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. You schedule a totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. And then Darren and the gang, they take a look at what's going on the top of your head. They give you some suggestions on how to make that better, and then the ball's in your court. And in the meantime, you can see other people who made that same choice, real-world results, at WeGrowHairIndie.com. WeGrowHairIndie.com, 317-522-2995, 317-522-2995. Tell them Rob sent you.
Step into the spotlight with Dancing with the Stars. Catch the live show at Old National Center Wednesday, February 25th. Reserve your seats and tickets today at WIBC.com.
What do you want to talk about? I got so distracted doing that great We Go Hair Indie live read, I just totally had a brain cramp.
You did fantastic at that, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
By the way, have you heard the phrase bald maxing?
For the who?
Bald maxing?
No, what is that?
It's well, it's when you accept your baldness, I guess. It just reminded me because you did the We Grow Hair Indie spot.
Yeah. What do you mean accept my baldness? Like
Well,
you
not
don't go
you don't have to.
You don't go to We Grow Hair Indie? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Oh.
Men who are losing
Oh,
their hair.
men. Okay.
Right. It's called bald maxing.
I
They
don't-
just accept that they're thinning on top and
Well, I don't know. Like, I do this every so often where I'll go look at old pictures of myself before
Mhm.
We Grow Hair Indie, and I'll think, man, as hideous as I actually look right now, think how bad I would be if I ponder what I would look like if I hadn't done that. That was
Mhm.
5 years ago.
yeah. So it was worth it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because look at you now.
I mean, look, here's what I tell people. The first month,
You look good.
little rough, right?
Mhm.
Like, I'm not going to lie. We don't fib here. We talk about sponsors we use. We support the people that we use. We give you the honest assessment. First month of the procedure, a little rough,
Mhm.
right? But after that, then the results, totally worth it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. And look at you now.
And look, I mean, I'm not saying I'm GQ level of beautiful, but I got a puncher's chance.
I saw you comment on X yesterday. Look how beautiful you look on the big screen.
I did a podcast and I
Mhm.
was commenting about that. What did you want to do?
I wanted to talk about how you've got Donald Trump and Marco Rubio going to the college football playoff national championship game.
That's right.
So you've got Donald Trump on one side who has picked a favorite. He's been praising Fernando Mendoza. So it seems that Donald Trump is picking IU. But then you've got Marco Rubio on the other side who is a Miami native.
Yeah.
And he's going to go with the Hurricanes.
Yeah, so this could be fascinating. Is the line still 8.5?
I don't know. I
I'm
was curious
You
about
filibuster
that.
for a second here, and I'll
Um,
look that up real quick.
Another interesting tidbit about this is that Trump's granddaughter, Kai Trump, she's committed now to play golf at University of Miami.
Oh.
But he is still going to be cheering for the Hoosiers.
Okay, yes, the line is still 8.5. So Miami is getting 8.5 points. You've got an over-under of 47.5. Here's the thing nobody's talking about,
Mhm.
and I think IU fans need to be aware of this. Miami has a hell of a defensive line.
Mm.
I mean, they are some dudes, and they bully people at the line of scrimmage. IU has really only played one team thus far this year that I would say has a comparative defensive line.
And who was that?
And that was Iowa.
Okay.
And IU had the problems with Iowa. Iowa probably should have won that game. Remember, they were driving late, and then it all fell apart. I think they missed a field goal. So I'm not saying it's an apples to apples comparison, but Miami's got a quarterback that's been there in college football 9 million years, Carson Beck, and you got a defensive line with some dudes. 8.5's a lot. I'm telling you right now, I'm leaning on the Degenerates Next Door Sports Betting Podcast. I'm leaning on taking Miami getting 8.5. Now, that doesn't mean I think Miami win the game. 8.5's a lot of points. That's a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and then another point.
Right.
That's a lot for a team that's playing in the national championship game that has arguably been the best team in college football since the tournament started.
A lot of people are saying that they're disappointed that Donald Trump and Marco Rubio are going to be at this game because now it's turning into a distraction. I think it's mostly Hoosiers that are saying that. Like, let's just have fun with a football game and not make it political on any level.
Well, I don't think it is political, right? Can't you just go watch a football game without it being political?
Well, when Donald Trump shows up, automatically people are going to have an opinion on that.
Well, it does raise the question of how much does it cost us as taxpayers for all presidents. I'm not just saying Trump. I was a Biden, any of these people, for them to go do their... See, I think I'd try to pass a law if I was in the Congress saying, no fun of any kind if you're the president. We give you the big house. You live there. If you got another house, I guess, you can go to that one. But none of this, like, leisure travel stuff, because we as taxpayers are paying for that. And if you don't want that job, there's 350 million people in this country, or 30 or 40 or whatever it is. There's enough people that would want the job. You live in the house. You do the job. It's a 24/7 job. No more screwing around on the golf course or going to football games.
What about the Army-Navy game? Should they show up for that?
Okay, that's the military.
Right.
Maybe that's a little different.
Okay.
And that's not that far for him to travel. He'd go there by a helicopter, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, how do you think he's going to get down to Miami?
He's going on an airplane,
Air Force
right?
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
most
taking a
likely.
helicopter to Miami.
It does also highlight that there's this growing relationship between Donald Trump and Marco Rubio.
Hey, when we come back, let's take a colossal dump on Mike Braun. How's that sound?
Sounds good. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
It's a new year. Ready for a fresh start or career reboot? At My Computer Career, prep for a more recession-resistant future in the high-demand fields of IT, cybersecurity, in months, not years, including AI. Whether you're starting out or switching careers, no prior training is needed. Attend school online from home or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu to take the free career evaluation today. mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
There's one name for every home system, Chapman. Heating, air conditioning, plumbing, drains, electrical, and now proudly serving Bloomington. Remember the man for all seasons, and now more reasons. Chapman, chapmanheating.com.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Friendly reminder to change your filter. Head on over to our website at familyhvac.net for some of the best pricing on filters around.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Dugan Air Heating and Cooling Mitsubishi Electric Studios, what the governor of Indiana says he's putting more of his attention to for this year, why a city council member is wanting to be the new mayor. A few shootings, multiple car crashes, a few of them fatal. We'll tell you where those happen. Plus, will we get more snow over the weekend? You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
He's threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act in Minneapolis. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump wrote on Truth Social, if corrupt politicians in that state don't obey the law and stop professional agitators from attacking ICE.
We had an officer last night viciously attacked with weapons, 3-on-1, where his life was in danger, and he defended himself.
Homeland Security Secretary Christine Noem, a Venezuelan illegal immigrant they were trying to detain, ended up being shot in the leg. That led to more angry anti-ICE protests in Minneapolis, where Fox's Matt Finn reports.
Rioters also apparently ripped open a weapons locker from a vehicle and may have gotten their hands on bullets and at least one gun. People were damaging cars, smashing windows, and spray painting them. Protesters were also going through what appears to be law enforcement documents on the street. One of our producers on the scene says the protesters were carefully reading each paper, believed to have sensitive information like agents' names, arrest warrants, maps, and more.
And as that anger simmers over immigration enforcement to win for the Trump administration trying to deport an activist who led pro-Palestinian protests at Columbia University.
A three-judge panel of the Third U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Philadelphia has reversed the lower court's decision to release Mahmoud Khalil, making his rearrest and deportation possible. He was the first of a number of students to be arrested after taking part in demonstrations on college campuses against Israel's war in Gaza.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. The U.S. is imposing new sanctions on Iran, targeting Iranian officials over deadly attacks on protests that reportedly left a few thousand people dead.
Iran's foreign minister called for diplomacy with the United States, while at the same time bashing U.S. diplomatic efforts. Reports indicate that protests have largely stopped in major Iranian cities after the brutal government crackdown.
Fox's Trey Inks. The U.S. military sees another oil tanker that had been sanctioned with ties to Venezuela. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Some lawmakers aren't buying it. Partly cloudy skies. We see a little bit of sun trying to sneak through. Still cold. Right now it's 21 here in the Circle City. Feels like 8. The high around 26 today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. It's 11:02. In his second State of the State address as governor, Mike Braun says his top priority for Hoosiers this year will be affordability. Although Democrats aren't believing the pitch, Senate Minority Leader Shelley Yoder says the GOP should have already been making life more affordable.
After 20 years of one-party control, Republicans drove Indiana into an affordability crisis and are now turning to Democratic ideas to try to get us out of it.
The governor mentioned a few other things in his speech, like job creation, the arrival of more data centers, and the Chicago Bears. Former City County Council President Vope Ousley is announcing a run for mayor of Indianapolis. Ousley put this video out this morning to confirm the news.
When I look at our city, I don't just see what is. I see what could be. Every design begins with one line, and every great city begins with people who care. Indianapolis has always been a work in progress, a place still being drawn.
Vope Ousley has spent the last 14 years on the council, including 8 as president. Last year, he decided he would not seek re-election as president and is now going for the highest office in the city. A woman is dead. A 21-year-old man is in custody in connection to the shooting on Indy's South Side from Wednesday night. IMPD officers responded to the 5,000 block of Shelby Street just before 8:30. The woman has not yet been identified. Police said the suspect they arrested is 21-year-old Gary Gatewood Jr. Another shooting broke out on the east side and put a man in critical condition. Police believe it was accidental and happened during a card game. 6 people are killed in 2 separate crashes from Wednesday up in Whitley County. A woman, a toddler, and an infant all died when they collided into another vehicle on State Road 9. Then in Madison County, a couple from Georgia and a man from Anderson died in a head-on collision on State Road 67. It's possible we get 2 rounds of light snow in central Indiana starting tomorrow. Ryan Hedrick reports.
You'll wake up Friday morning to the same bitter cold you've felt the past couple of days with a few flurries, and then
Friday night into Saturday, we're really just looking for kind of like scattered snow showers. We may see some light accumulation, maybe trace amounts, a tenth here. Right now, we're not looking for a significant accumulation.
National Weather Service forecaster Earl Breon says northern Indiana is a different story with much heavier lake effect snow. Some areas near the Michigan line could see a foot. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And the Indiana Pacers win streak stopping at 3. They lost to the Raptors last night, 115-101. They will host the Pelicans tomorrow night. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
What is the most important thing that'll help you maintain your same lifestyle in retirement? Here's the answer. It's income. That's going to help you maintain your same lifestyle in retirement. When you have a consistent and steady stream of income, it enables you to do all the things you want to do in retirement. Hey, what's going on? It's Hammer and Nigel. And you may not realize it, but there are strategies that could give you a 20% upfront bonus, a strong return that's averaged nearly 10% a year, and it's backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world.
Think of it as creating
your own personal pension. Learn more from the retirement guy that we trust, Bill Demery, right here in Indy. Call 317-805-4716. That's 317-805-4716. 317-805-4716 or visit yourretirementguy.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Okay, so take away how much you loathe Braun. Was there anything in that speech last night that you heard that you said, wow, that's going to make life so much better for me and my family?
I thought there was a highlight when he was pointing out the successes of the Indiana State Police, although he did say he was going to be focusing on the kitchen table issues. I don't know a lot of people that are sitting around at dinner saying, have they taken that cocaine off the streets?
No,
I mean, it's a good accomplishment.
But that's what you pay them for.
Correct.
Right? Like that's their job. And I'm not trying to in any way underscore the job they're doing. Great on them. Glad they're out there. God bless you. Right? I'm not trying to do that. But like that's your job. Like someone trafficking cocaine through the state of Indiana. Glad you caught them. Good. Glad they're off the streets. Hopefully will save lives. But that's like that's why we pay taxes. That's why state police exists. I'm talking about in the nuts and bolts of the speech. Was there any policy you heard or anything that he recapped that you're like, man, that is it? That's something to be fired up about? That's something to engage in over the next year? Did you hear any of that?
Well, he was emphasizing reducing the cost of our electric bills.
How's he do
nice.
that? How's he going to do that? What did he tell you that says, I'm going to do this? Exactly. He didn't. No.
Yeah.
He talked about this consumer advocate lady who he's like, well, I appointed her, and the first thing she did was say that there shouldn't have been a rate increase and say there should be a rate decrease. That's nice, and the IURC is going to wipe their butt cheeks with it and throw it back in her face. Just because she advocates for it, that's not a policy change. When of all the people in the state you could have appointed to the IURC, because he mentioned those 3 board members, one of them is a sitting state senator who caused the problem. I'm supposed to believe Andy Zay is suddenly going to be, whose signature issue this year was the sandwich, is going to somehow be some warrior for the taxpayers? Get out of here.
He was talking about the Amazon data center that's happening in Northwest Indiana, and he said that they're going to have to pay their own way and not pass that on to the taxpayers. And he was advocating for that for all data centers.
But the problem is his own IEDC, which he appointed, not the old one. I mean, meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Sure.
But their first action of this new board was to approve millions of dollars of tax incentives for data centers. And there's nothing in the requirements of any sort of law that says the data centers have to set themselves up the way that specific one is. It's a case-by-case basis.
Not to mention the SMR bill, which says, we're going to be paying for all of that research and development.
Yeah. Mike Braun is a lying sack of crap sleazebag. He is an establishment hack who presented himself as an outsider. And look, we tried to engage with him last year. We did our best to help him because we wanted property tax reform for the people. He didn't deliver on it. He caved. He's weak. He's pathetically weak. And the biggest mistake that we made was believing, and I'll obviously be the first to fall on the sword, that his little stooge assistant, the lieutenant governor, was going to be there to fight. What does he do all day? Has anybody heard from him other than people that come and visit him in his office? At least he stopped going to the candy stores and the Pizza Kings on taxpayer time. Now I guess he just has everybody come to him. And I'll be the first person to say guilty as charged. I believed that the lieutenant governor was going to be a person that was going to stand up and fight. He doesn't do that. So you have an establishment sleazebag without anybody pushing back on him in terms of the executive branch, and you're just getting these problems that were bad under Holcomb made worse.
One of the things that Governor Braun said is that Indiana is the state where your dollar goes further.
You know what else makes life more affordable? The government spending less of your money. We tightened our belts with the budget this year, with the majority of Indiana state agencies operating with 10% cuts. not knowing that we were going to have a budget shortfall that we contended with. That set the stage. And that projected budget shortfall last year has been neutralized, and next year's revenue forecast shows strong growth across the board. We cracked down on waste, fraud, and abuse, and our efforts have received national attention. While some states are in the news for billions in Medicare and Medicaid fraud, Indiana has found $465 million in savings just this year. Indiana is making Medicaid.
You know what's interesting is he said that they neutralized the shortfall in the budget. How did they do that? By raising taxes.
Yeah, he raised taxes by $1 billion, but I want to come back to the Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do it and cut it out, because you had to, not because you wanted to, but there was no money, it's savings. When somebody else does it, it's waste and abuse. You notice the word game he played there? What they pulled. So, again, I want to reiterate to people what happened, because people all the time are like, well, he's a leftist plant because he's
That's
only
what they think of
mean
you.
to the Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
What Democrat controls anything in state government?
None.
Who has a supermajority in the House, Casey?
Republicans.
Who has a supermajority in the Senate?
Republicans.
Who's the governor?
Republican.
Who has all the statewide offices?
Republicans.
So what Democrats would I talk about as it relates to anything with the state? The Republicans control everything.
Mm-hmm.
So let's review what actually happened with Medicaid, what he's talking about savings. I know we've done this before, but we have to keep reiterating it because I'm not going to let him get away with lying. I'm not going to let it happen.
The Medicaid program has cut $465 million via efficiency measures.
No. Here's what happened. During COVID, Eric Holcomb wanted society to believe that he could shut the state down and that your life wouldn't be affected. Now, this was the great lie, the great con at all levels of government, the federal government and state governments and local governments. So what he did with huge bribes from the federal government. So now we go to Trump, right? So when Trump and banks and all these guys sit in some sort of judgment of Minnesota, remember, they're the ones that threw the money at Minnesota. Minnesota wouldn't have been able to have $9 billion of daycare fraud if the Trump and the Republicans hadn't thrown the money at him, right? It's like giving a guy a gun and going, how dare you rob that bank? But he's a criminal and you gave him a gun. Yeah, but he's the one that robbed the bank. But he's a criminal and you gave him the gun. In the state of Indiana, Eric Holcomb, the Holcomb administration, just started throwing people on the Medicaid rolls without really any sort of standard whatsoever that you would associate with, being a disabled person or, being permanently put out of a job. People were put out of jobs or put out of jobs by him because he shut the state down. But any of the things that you would associate with, hey, this person needs help, they're trying to get better, this is a short-term solution. Eric Holcomb, with bribes from the federal government, put all of these able-bodied people on the Medicaid rolls and paid them essentially to not work and paid them through money coming from the federal government, facilitated through the states, paid them with insurance, et cetera, to just stay at home. So everybody went, wasn't Holcomb wonderful? Mm-hmm. He cares about our health, Casey. Mm-hmm. You better put your mask on because Eric loves us. Eric cares about your health. Mm-hmm. And that's why Holcomb, despite losing hundreds of thousands of conservatives in 2020, won overwhelmingly because the Democrats voted for him because they liked it. And all of these Republicans, like Chris Garton and the rest of the Good Time Fun gang, sat there with their thumbs up their backside and didn't do or say a damn thing. So what you had is an explosion of people dependent upon Medicaid from the state because then the federal government finally said, well, we're out of this game. You guys are on your own. We're not doing this 90 match anymore. You guys better figure out how to pay for this. And so the state said, well, crap, we don't have the money to pay for it either. Mm-hmm. All right, all you able-bodied people who we've been bribing to vote for us for 5 years, you out of here. And Braun runs out there yesterday and acts like, we did it through efficiencies. No, you by force, because you were out of money, started kicking people off these rolls who never should have been on there to begin with.
He did emphasize that he wants to reduce costs for Hoosiers via electric bills, which we mentioned, also rent. He was bragging about the property tax bill from last year. And he also says that he wants to support home ownership by reducing regulations.
So when he says that, what he wants is when they're talking about reducing regulations, and people need to understand this.
Code.
This is code, whether it's talking about because this is the thing they're trying to do now with the wind and solar stuff. When they say reduce regulation, he's talking about stopping the ability of local governments to put up barriers to whatever the thing is he's talking about. When he's talking about regulation, that's what he's talking about. Whether it's wind, whether it's solar, whether it's high-density housing. When he's talking about access to housing, he's talking about being able to build, they used to call them vinyl villages, right? These high-density housing developments in your community and stopping the ability of local government to put up barriers to that. So if you want more of these villages that are filled with HB1 workers, I know, I've seen them in my community. That's what he's talking about. You want to sign up on board for that? You want to cheerlead Mike Braun? That's what he's talking about. He's talking about it with wind. He's talking about it with solar. His energy czar, secretary, whatever she's called, in a public event said that these companies should be able to sue local governments that get in their way. Why is it that we have to spell this out for people? Think about this. Who else is going to challenge that? People hear that and they go, he's getting rid of regulation. Government's in the way. How could that be anything but good? Not knowing what he's talking about is the ability for local governments, home rule, to decide what goes on in their own communities.
One last thought about the speech, and this is just on an appearance level. I thought the gray suit looked good on him. If he's speaking out in public because he's turning silver on top, he needs to go with that color.
Hey, wait. We didn't even mention this. Why did Mike Braun not mention the Mid-States Corridor last night?
He didn't. He didn't mention that.
Now, you would think.
He didn't mention toll roads either.
That's right. He didn't. You would think, Casey, if a project was so important, a multi-billion-dollar project, the INDOT is canceling hundreds of other projects, like vital stuff, things that communities are really banking on and counting on. And yet this project is going to continue with that hefty price tag. You'd think you'd be all over talking about Mid-States Corridor, this 25-mile stretch of road. Oh, it's going to be fabulous. You notice he didn't say word one about the Mid-States Corridor last night.
No, he did not.
Or the toll roads.
Right.
And if that's such a great deal, if you're going to be raising all this money, it's going to be so great for Hoosiers, wouldn't you be putting it out there?
Wouldn't you be bragging about that? No, because he knows people are not going to be happy about that.
He's full of it. He's a colossal fraudster, and people figured him out, and his first year was a disaster, and this year isn't going to get any better, and now he's got the problem. He's pissed all those legislators off.
And you know what? You know what happened afterwards? Of course, you get the response from the Democrats, and they were critical, obviously, saying that they're lacking new policies on affordability and childcare. But then you have the response to the response from Rod Bray and Todd Houston. And regardless of what happened with redistricting, Rod Bray was very positive and praising the focus on all of his achievements.
Yeah. And
so,
in the Godfather,
back to being friends.
But in the Godfather, everybody thought the black hand, because he gave out fruit, was great, right? I mean, like everybody, oh, Gotti, what a great guy. He helps the orphans. He's a wonderful. Oh, that is a long way from over, and Braun is going to pay for that. Braun is going to pay for that for years. I just, God, these people are the worst, Casey. They are just the worst.
It is Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Angrier in Minneapolis after another ICE-involved shooting last night.
93 WIBC.
Protesters were calling law enforcement murderers.
What happens next?
Trump says he's been told that Iran stopped the killings and plans for executions.
Happens here.
The president keeps insisting the U.S. must take control of Greenland for national security.
Mike Braun praised Amazon's $15 billion data center.
Electric rates won't go up, they'll go down.
AI is going to be the key to the jobs of the future.
On air, online, and on Alexa.
When I was 48 years old, I had a massive heart attack.
Jake Query, sports radio host and announcer for the IndyCar Radio Network, shares his story as a registered organ donor.
I've always heard the assumption that I don't know about being an organ donor because if you go into the ER, they're going to be more anxious to get your organs. I'm kind of proof that's not the case. When your life is the one that's in the balance, your life is the priority.
Say yes to organ donation.
I have the opportunity to allow another group of people to continue the love and the beauty of life. Why wouldn't I do it?
To learn more, go to donatelifeindiana.org.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
This hour powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard Air dealer. Nobody cares for you like family.
Housing discrimination. Would you recognize it and report it? These folks did.
My landlord said rent will be cheaper if we're friends with benefits.
Because I'm legally blind, a landlord questioned whether I'd be capable of maintaining an apartment.
Our real estate agent said a different neighborhood with people like us might better suit our family.
To learn more about housing discrimination, visit hud.gov/fair housing. Fair housing is your right. Use it. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Hey, I just realized.
Yeah.
You're not going to see me for 4 days.
I know. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to smile.
Kind of expecting more of a, it's going to be horrible type
Yeah,
of thing.
because you're taking tomorrow off.
Okay, so let me
And then we're off Monday.
Well, let me explain this to people
Okay.
about what's going on here. And we know our bosses don't listen to us, so we can say whatever we want.
Uh-huh.
In lieu of giving us any sort of financial reward for the job we do in this #1 rated radio program,
Correct.
they just decided they were going to throw a bunch of off days at us in December.
Mhm.
And I was like, but I've already taken all of my off days.
Correct.
Like, this announcement was made at the end of December.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, when would I use these days? And they're like, well, you can use them in January if you want.
Mhm.
But I like coming to work. Can I just use them in the summer when it would be,
No.
nice outside? I could do
No.
something. Oh, no, you have to use them by the end of January.
Mhm.
So I just have to pick 3 random January days and take them off if you want to use them.
Yeah.
I was like, well, why would I drive into work?
Yeah.
So I will be using one of those days tomorrow.
So you chose every Friday for the rest of the month. I mean, that's pretty smart on your part. You
Yeah.
got some 3-day weekends coming up.
Well, and then we're off Martin Luther King Day.
Mm-hmm.
And that we know that for sure?
Yes.
Okay. So
I
then
have asked.
Okay. So neither one of us will be here on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll see y'all on Tuesday, I guess.
There you go.
If they invite me back.
Right?
You never know around here.
Well, that's true. We'll see you on Tuesday.
So let's see. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you better enjoy these final 35 minutes we got left together, because that's it for you for a while.
4 days. I think I'll be okay. It's not nearly as long as the 2.5 weeks you took around Christmas.
No, I
at the
thought
end of the
about
year.
that, and I think I'm gonna switch it up this year.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm gonna just take all.
Really, this is the year?
Yeah, if I'm still here. This is the year I'm gonna switch it
Keep
up.
threatening.
Well, it's gonna be like Bob Knight. When I go,
Mhm.
when Bob Knight quit at Texas Tech, he just always made veiled comments about not coming back, and then one day he just didn't come back.
Mhm.
And so someday you'll say, well, he finally did it.
One day I'll come in and I'll say, "Where's Rob?"
Yeah, I just won't be here.
Uh-huh. You sent me something yesterday about
Uh-oh.
Bob Knight. What was that?
Oh, they're looking at naming a stretch of road in Bloomington.
That's right.
After Bob Knight. I think it's the road that runs by. I didn't see any of that many messages. Good grief.
The Indiana House of Representatives voted unanimously to name the stretch of State Road 45 between College and Fee the Bob Knight Memorial Way.
Sort of seems like a no-brainer, doesn't
It
it?
still has to pass the Senate. Yeah, I mean, that does seem like a no-brainer, a nice way to honor his legacy. But again, this is what your representation is focused on.
Well, right.
Sandwiches and naming roads.
Here's my question. Why isn't the court named after Bob Knight?
Mm.
Like, Simon Scott Assembly Hall. I get that, right? But why isn't the court named after Bob Knight? Wouldn't that be the most fitting thing for Bob Knight to name the court Assembly Hall where he won all those games? Like, wouldn't that be the best thing you could do for Bob Knight? And where does Bob Knight rank? This is probably the bigger question. And I know we've sort of had this talk before, but like, where does Bob Knight rank in terms of all-time
Hoosiers?
Hoosiers? Not like Indiana Hoosiers, the basketball team, but like in the people, in terms of when you think of the state of Indiana.
He's up there
period,
pretty far.
right? Like, who are the
Yeah.
people that come
Mhm.
to mind, right? I mean, like, I would just off the top of my head. I mean, we had a president, but it was so long ago. Do people think of Harrison?
Mm.
Like, the people? I mean, that your president would sort of have to be on the list, wouldn't he?
He should be.
But he's such a I'm not trying to be disparaging. I'm sure there's relatives of the Harrison family that are hearing my voice right now. He's sort of like an irrelevant president. Like wasn't some great thing that happened during his presidency, right? Did I miss something? Something monumental happened during the Harrison presidency?
Probably, but he's not ranking up there in the top
Right.
presidents.
So would you put, I mean, like John Mellencamp,
Mhm.
okay, world-renowned recording artist, right?
Musician,
Like
sure.
decades. He probably has to be on there.
Put
but-
him there, Larry Bird.
Well, that's what I was saying. Then you get into
Yeah.
sports, but you can't do all sports. So what do
Mhm.
who do you, I don't know.
Bob
Anyway.
Knight would be on that list.
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying, yeah, probably.
Because you got to
David
get out.
Letterman.
David Letterman's another one.
hmm
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, should totally have the court named after him. I'm fine with the stretch of road being named after him. I'm okay with this.
They spent a lot of time discussing that.
Did they?
I don't know.
I mean, there probably was some Purdue guy that got up there and had an aneurysm over it. What about Gene Caneway?
Did you see, speaking of IU, for the football game coming up on Monday, it's the first time ever that both teams are Adidas sponsored.
Oh, they're jerseys, you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
A first in college football for a national title where both of their
Isn't it fascinating? Like I was thinking about this yesterday driving home. This is such uncharted territory where IU clearly has never been in this position before. But now you look at the way they're playing and their coach and whatever, and it almost is like, well, I kind of expect them to do it next year. Like the portal.
Well, yeah, but you're thinking, is this the dynasty?
Yeah, the portal
beginning.
is so changed. Has so changed athletics, and it's ruined
Signetti,
it.
yeah, he figured it out though.
Right.
How to use the portal to his advantage.
Like, okay, can you? You used to be in college athletics, and you're in Notre Dame football. So I'll just use Notre Dame football as an example. Whether it's basketball, football, whatever, you knew from one year to the next all the key players on the team, right? Like you knew, IU basketball every year as a kid. I could name you the 12
they
guys that run IU
stayed.
basketball, right? You were interested in recruiting because you said that kid is going to go play for Bob Knight for 4 years, and whether you got this guy or didn't get that, like it was the world's biggest deal because you were going to literally watch that person come in as a boy and leave as a man. Right? You were going to see their arc, and it was a part of your family forever and ever and ever. And now that none of that exists, like it's what new guy is going to come in the portal,
right?
What recruit doesn't even matter anymore because there's a better chance than not that after a year or two, that guy's not even going to be like the CJ Carr, the quarterback for Notre Dame. He's a freshman this year. He's phenomenal. If you were 10 years ago, you're like, dude, we are set for life,
Right.
baby.
Watch this kid.
Now he's coming back, but you're like, well, crap, is that guy even going to be on our team next year? Okay, he was phenomenal. Notre Dame was good. But is this kid even going to be back next year? And so I just think while this IU stuff is phenomenal, I would argue that like other teams that weren't nearly as good may have had more emotional connection because you knew the players. You invested in the players. These guys are just hired hands now. And they're hired hands that wear the jersey that you associate with.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because there was a kicker from Purdue. He's actually from Brownsburg.
Yes.
And he has now transferred to Notre Dame. So he was kicking at Purdue, and now he's going to go to Notre Dame.
Right. They're going to have to do one of two things because this is unsustainable for college athletics, period, the way it is now. They're either going to have, Congress is going to have to grant the NCAA antitrust exemption, which means they get to play by different rules than everybody else, or they're going to have to unionize the players with a very clear set of directives and ground rules as part of unionization. Because let's face it, I mean, how many people, okay, Mendoza, everybody knows Mendoza. How many people not named John Herrick in our floor right now in WIBC? And we run the IU basketball games, the fan runs the football games, right? Like we're investing in IU. How many people not named John Herrick could name 10 guys on the IU football team?
Oh, I couldn't do it.
No, I'm not indicting you. I'm
Yeah.
saying the average person, including people who are going to go to that game and pay all that money to go to the game, could not name 10 guys on the IU football team.
Right.
Because you don't invest in the guys anymore because they're hired hands. They're just there. They're paid mercenaries at all levels to wear a jersey that you identify with.
Mm-hmm.
Even the pros, more because they sign contracts. Like you draft a guy in the NFL, Loveland for the Bears, the tight end. I know he's going to be there, 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Williams, 5 years. I call him Taylor Swift. DeAndre Swift, the running back. He's going to be there X amount of years because he signed a contract. Like, you know who these guys are. There's more emotional connection now with the pros than with the college guys.
But do you think, though, that in regards to college, the emotion came from the players, or did it come from your allegiance with the school?
It did, but I think there's something invested in the idea of, like we talked about, that I'm going to see this kid go from a boy to a man. Like, I'm literally going to watch this guy grow up, and whatever success that he has in his life, you have shared.
We did that with Pat Connaughton, who played basketball at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you literally, there's a part of you, like, okay, AJ Guyton, IU basketball player. I don't know if he's still an assistant. I don't know. He was involved. Calbert Chaney, these guys who are still coming back and a part of the program in some capacity. You literally invested in them. Like, I saw them, in the peak of their performance, their youth, whatever, and all the great things they do in their life. You take some ownership in it because IU basketball, playing for Bob Knight, to bring this conversation full circle, was a huge part of that. Bob Knight may have been a complete maniac as a human being, but his players were good kids. They were respectful. They graduated. They didn't cheat. They went to class. All of those things, right? And you said, okay, my watching and cheering for him, I invested in that because he was invested in the university. These kids now are not invested in anything other than a paycheck. Most of them.
Yeah.
Many of them.
And an award.
But you see Notre Dame won the portal? Everybody's saying they had the best portal/recruiting class that, put them together. So we're back next year, Casey.
Are we?
We're back.
Okay.
Until they fix this Wild West sideshow, we're back.
It is Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799. 800-598-4799.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Ben Franklin here to talk to you about your water heater. A water heater is a vital part of your home's plumbing. When it doesn't work, it can really freeze up your routine. Call the pros at Benjamin Franklin Plumbing about water heater options for your home. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com or call 877-BEN-1776 to request an appointment. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in their respective state or county.
Hey, what's going on? It's Hammer from the Hammer and Nigel show. And I'm not going to lie to you. I needed help. I got a bald spot in the back of my head, and it's embarrassing. I see it when I'm on television. I see it when I'm on the YouTube channel. So I decided to reach out for help. And my friends at We Grow Hair Indie decided to help me out here. These guys are the absolute best. I was a little leery about it. I could not have a procedure that, one, hurt, or two, left me looking like I'd been scalped. But after I talked with Darren and the entire team at We Grow Hair Indie, they told me their state-of-the-art technology, the progress made in hair growth, it's going to be okay. If I can do this, you guys can do this. Contact the team at We Grow Hair Indie, 317-522-2995. That's 522-2995. Get that free evaluation. It's free. You can also go online to WeGrowHairIndie.com. Contact them today and do this with me. WeGrowHairIndie.com.
Since 1983, over 80,000 customers have trusted their home to B-Window.
We're now employee-owned, and that means we treat your home like it's our own.
From energy-efficient windows that can cut your energy costs by up to 50%.
To stylish doors, siding, and custom bathroom models
models, we have you covered.
And every project is backed by our industry-leading warranty.
Call today or go to bwindow.com and receive up to 60% off plus 24 months, same as cash, with 0% interest.
Because at B-Window,
We mean business. We mean business.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to say
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Heating and air conditioning can be the largest investment you make in your home. Here at Family, we pride ourselves in offering many flexible options.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He's announcing a run. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. The former president of the Indianapolis City County Council is trying to become the city's next mayor.
I'm Bob Osley. I'm running for mayor, and I'm asking you to draw that future with me.
That's Osley in a video he posted this morning. The 63-year-old Democrat has served on the county council for the last 14 years, including 8 as president. Indy police say a woman was shot and killed on the south side last night. Officers arrested a 21-year-old suspect in connection to that shooting. It could be colder than it is today over the weekend in central Indiana. The National Weather Service in Indianapolis says light snow chances are there for tomorrow and Saturday, with temperatures expected to be in the 20s and some strong winds. And the concert announcements keep coming this week. Rob Zombie and Pitbull are scheduled to be at the Ruoff Music Center in September. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
In a candlelit tavern, farmers and millers leaned on a rough table, writing their own revolution into existence.
WIBC celebrates the spirit of 76. Brought to you by Tony Katz presents Trump 1 year later.
January 15th, 1777. Representatives of the New Hampshire Grants declared themselves an independent republic, free from both New York and the British Crown. They called it New Connecticut. Later, Vermont. Their constitution banned slavery and expanded voting rights. On a snowy frontier, ordinary settlers proved liberty didn't live only in armies. It lived wherever free people gathered and said, "We will govern ourselves."
The spirit of 76. History remembered. Freedom celebrated. Sponsored by Trump. 1 year later, an evening of insight, conversation, and bourbon with Tony Katz. Tickets available at WIBC.com.
Casey, this is a wild story. My junior high wrestling coach is in big trouble.
What'd he do?
This is so crazy. So this guy legitimately was my 7th grade wrestling coach.
Mm-hmm.
And Todd, yes.
Before you proceed, were you any good at wrestling?
I was great. I at one point had you'll love this. At one point, I had one move. It was headlock, hip toss, boom. If I'm stronger than you, I win. That was my thing.
Mm-hmm. 2 points takedown.
At one point, I had the fastest pin in the history of Brownsburg Junior High. It was like 8 seconds.
Look at you.
Kid
and you're still not in the Hall of Fame.
I was at the,
high school.
whatever, like 125-pound weight class. I had one move. But my thing, and this is why my one coach hated it, like the main coach. So the way they did what team you got to be on was like you had wrestle-offs. Like you had all these people in the same weight class and you had to just wrestle your people. And as long as you won your wrestle-off, you got to be they called it the varsity guy. Well, my one coach, not this guy, but the other coach, the main guy, he was pissed off because I was into pro wrestling, right?
Right.
So I saw it as pro wrestling.
Right.
Well, the only move you could do that was pro wrestling was headlock, hip toss, boom. But I was really good. I was a sneaky little crap, Casey. So I was really good at not being able to.
No one's surprised.
Not being able to be taken down.
Yeah.
So in the matches, if I lost, so there's 2 ways you could lose in wrestling. You can, in legitimate wrestling, right? You lose by pin or lose by points. I never got pinned. So if you put me in a match, you would only lose, I think it was a point.
Slippery.
It was only a point.
Yeah.
So you could always count on me that you would never lose, I think it was 3 points if you lost by pinfall. So I was good, like, if the match was close, you could put Rob in there, and I'm either going to win you the points, and I'm going to win by pinfall because I got the one move, right? I'm going to keep going for that move until I get you. Or I'm just going to lose you 1 point. But my coach hated that because he was like, wrestling's an art. It's a science. You got to do this move. You got to do that move. I was like, screw that stuff.
I got one move.
So every week, like all the other guys who are on the varsity team, like they didn't have to do wrestle-offs. Oh, that's the guy. Rob's got to fend for his life because he was trying to get me beat.
Every time.
Because he was mad that even though I was helping the team, I didn't do it his way. I was like, this is war. We're taking these guys down. I had an 8-second pin. I don't know if it's still the record or not. It's probably been lost.
That's quick. Do you remember what school it was against?
That was some dual meet somewhere.
Okay.
Just get out there, and the kid had no. It was like you could size a kid up in junior high. You could size a dude up. Like I could stand in front of you and be like, I can take this dude, or I'm in big trouble.
Right.
Like I knew from the moment I saw that because they'd have
whether you were going to win.
They'd have the face-offs, right? Like where they'd announce your name, the 125 or 130 or whatever, Rob Kendall, and then from Avon, da-da-da. Like I knew when I went and shook the dude's hand in the opening announcement, okay, this is going to be a 3-point win or I'm losing by a point. Like I knew that. Anyway, this guy who was my junior high wrestling coach, he's a real estate or he was a real estate broker now.
Not anymore.
He's in big trouble.
Yeah. From Todd Rokita.
Yes, our buddy Rokita. He has gotten on the wrong side of Todd Rokita.
He was found to have defrauded investors of millions of dollars and also forging some signatures.
I mean, it's not funny, right? But I saw the guy's name and I was like, that's the dude.
That's the guy who used to coach you.
Yeah. So like the way now this is not a criminal issue, right? So the state of Indiana, so a lot of people don't know this. The Attorney General
civil
does not do criminal matters. Now he can make referrals, et cetera, but the Attorney General handles civil matters. Real estate brokers in the state of Indiana, they're licensed. They have to go get a license. It's overseen by the professional licensing agency, and as a result, complaints against them are then prosecuted, for lack of a better term, by the Attorney General's office. And boy, howdy, is this guy accused of doing some really dastardly stuff, totaling $100 million, Casey.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
A lot.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. One person lost over $10 million, another lost over $4 million. So your former wrestling coach has now permanently lost his broker's license because of this.
If he'd have just been nicer to me, maybe things would work out better for him.
Yeah, Rokita's office filed a 29-count administrative complaint against him. Now, he's only ordered to pay $29,000 back in civil penalties.
But he doesn't get to be a realtor anymore.
No, he can't be a broker
He's
anymore.
donezo with that.
Correct.
Can you imagine
he's going to have to find a new career.
Can you imagine losing $10 million?
No. That's an incredible amount of money.
And what I can't figure out, and I was talking to a couple of people, Kara Kinney from WRTV, amongst others, has reported on this. What I can't figure out is if indeed the allegations, which clearly the people who oversee the real estate board believed the allegations put forth by Rokita, how this has not resulted in criminal charges. I can't figure that out yet either, because this is a colossal amount of money that we're talking about here, what this guy is accused of having done.
He's got to cover all his court costs as well. He can't apply for a new license.
That's
Maybe
the least
he'll
of
go
his
back to
problems.
being a wrestling coach. It's like, why are wrestling coaches in the news lately?
Well, now, in fairness, this was 30 years ago.
That he was your wrestling coach?
Yeah, well, not quite 30 years ago.
Was he still doing it?
I don't think so.
Okay. So he gave that up a while ago. Maybe after you left.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was the wrestling team manager.
Oh, you were
one season.
Matt Rat.
We called them pinups.
Oh.
Because they're wrestling pin. But it was my job just to keep score of what the wrestlers did.
Oh, you didn't have
how many points.
You didn't have to clean the mat or anything.
No.
Yeah.
No. I was writing down, like when you pin somebody or 2 points takedown.
Look, when I was
keeping track of that.
When I was in junior high, and I'm not trying to indict you in any way, but usually
Thank you.
the mat rats were like the well-assembled chicks that were really rough around the edges.
Oh.
So I like,
I did it because I had a girlfriend who her boyfriend was a wrestler and she wanted to do it, but she didn't want to do it alone. So she roped me into it. And I said, okay, I'll do it.
They were usually like, you would look at them and you would say, well, cheerleader hot, but with biker attitude. That's a lot of the mat rats.
I think maybe you just described me to a T. That's it. Hey, I wanted to play this audio. I don't know if you saw this. This is a town that keeps raising taxes. And so the resident showed up to speak at one of the town council meetings, and he was wearing an English lord's wig. And instead of protesting, he was sarcastically supporting the increases And here's what he had to say to the town council.
Well, cry us a river. I don't know how we can make it any more clear to the commoners. This is a town for wealthy aristocrats. If you are struggling with your taxes and trying to make ends meet, the guidance from we, the elite, is clear. If you can't pay your taxes, don't be poor. When you move to this town, you sign an invisible imaginary social contract, which clearly states that you will pay far more taxes because we spend far more money here. That's what we do here. We spend other people's money. And if you don't like it, you're not welcome here. If you're struggling, then run along to one of the many, many other towns where you would pay far less in taxes.
It's the town council.
Carmel. Is that guy from Carmel?
I don't know, but they ended up letting him speak for 5 minutes. They must have been entertained by him. Rather than somebody going up and just complaining about the taxes, he was saying, bravo you, yes, this is how it's done. Show the peasants. And they just let him go.
Well, normally they give you 5 minutes, and that's your 5 minutes. And unless they've got rules on that, it has to be related to the agenda or whatever, you want to wear a wig, you want to do a British accent,
sure,
whatever,
go for it.
I'm planning a humdinger of a speech at the Brownsburg Town Council meeting next week. That's
going
to be a fun one.
Oh, you want to say more words?
Well, I mean, we've got some council members that have allegedly behaved quite poorly. You can find them on various state websites that describe that behavior, which for some reason doesn't get talked about. Well, maybe we'll talk about that. We got one guy who got locked out of town hall for giving an interview.
Sure, right.
And they're just feverishly trying to find some excuse to stand behind that.
Does everybody know that he's elected, right?
Yeah, he's elected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not an employee.
No.
Okay.
They went to the employee handbook,
Uh-huh.
and this is what employees have to do. And it's like, well, he's elected. He's not an employee.
It's a bit of a difference.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do it in a British accent.
You should, and
with
get
a wig.
Get a white powdered wig.
Yeah.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Leave all of the 2025 dirt behind and start the new year with Zero Res. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, and hard surfaces, your whole home can be zero resified, including your air ducts. With a 4.9 Google rating and over 5,100 reviews, Zero Res is the trusted choice. So start the new year with 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $119, plus a free hallway, and take 15% off regularly priced services when you mention the WIBC special. 317-388-5141, ZeroResIndy.com.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed or your money back. Only $59.99. Destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, or weight gain, or your money back. Hypnosis January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss of 5:30 p.m., stop smoking at 8. And January 31st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking at 2. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mark your calendar for January 24th at the Hyatt Regency for a night of insight and flair with Tony Katz. Trump 1 year later. VIP and GA tickets are available. WIBC.com for more info. Presented by Defiance Beef Company, Premier Arms and Chimney Solutions.
So Trump was mean to our old pal, the Duke of Spendingburg, and he caved.
I didn't think he was that mean to him. He just mentioned his name, but he didn't call him a loser or anything else like he does to Rand Paul.
Duke of Spendingburg, for those of you who are new to the program, it's Kendall and Casey show, by the way. I'm Rob, that's Casey. That is our name for Todd Young, who, because he is the highest spending Republican in the U.S. Senate. So we call him the Duke of Spendingburg. And he once famously told me at the Stack's Pancake House.
He was never stopping.
As he moved very aggressively towards me. I think he was ready to throw down that day. I think
he was hoping you would instigate something.
Yeah, I mean, that was nuts. Like,
he was going to be rid of you forever.
I mean, we have told that story before. So he had some event at the Stack's Pancake House in Were you here for that?
Mhm.
Was this you?
I was the one who encouraged you to go.
That's right.
You were debating and you were like, I don't know. And I said, oh, no, you must go.
That's right. We've gotten years of content out of that. I'm so glad you encouraged me to go.
Mhm.
So I went with, well, at the time it was my girlfriend, and then it became my wife. We went at your egging us on to
Mhm.
go. We
Mhm.
were going to be, minding our own business, and then you
Like
con-
Woody Woodpecker
conni-
said, ha ha ha, ha,
connived me to
you
go.
have to go.
They knew we were coming because we said we were coming on the air.
Well, yeah, you talked about it.
He had that little assistant, and we called him Igor. That was his name.
You think that guy still works for him?
Oh, no way. Like, what could the length of working for Todd Young be? I mean, that's probably, like, you know how sometimes the judge, if someone commits a crime, they'll give them a choice of, like, some sort of horrible job, or you can serve the time in prison.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that working for Todd Young might be one of the choices that the judge
You think
gives
so?
you.
I don't know. I kind of feel like there's some people that they latch on to a politician and just grift for the length of time.
It's called a gravy train.
Right.
Gravy train.
They hatch their star to that
Well,
wagon and keep on going.
Anyway, so we go. Igor knew we were coming. He meets me at the door and proceeds to like pepper me with questions if I'm there as a member of the media or a citizen. And then I told him I was there as a taxpayer. Do something about it. Of course, there wasn't anything he could do about it. And then Spendingberg rolls in with like this armed sheriff's deputy behind him. And I was like, I thought you were a big tough Marine. I thought you were Mr. 2A. What do you need a big tough sheriff's deputy behind you for? It's all like political people that are there. There's a room full of people. Then they ban the filming. Igor's very adamant we can't film the event,
right?
Which is bizarro. He's a U.S. senator. He works for us. You can't film the event. Then he starts like filming the event. And at one point, Todd Young gets into it with me, and we not had the witnesses back this up? Have numerous people not come forth over the years and said this is exactly how it went down? He gets into it with me, and he knew that I was there, and he wanted to get into it with me. And I'm in this booth, like my wife is in front of me, and I'm in this booth, and he starts moving like aggressively towards me. He's bowed up, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Get in a fight with Todd Young with the armed sheriff's deputy? And he was mad he wasn't getting the result he wanted.
Right.
And then that was when he famously said, I'm never going to stop spending money. And a room full of people heard him. They have confirmed. There have been audios that have leaked out over the years of this, of people who recorded the thing. And so he said, I'm never stopping spending the money. I'm very proud of the trillions and trillions of dollars I've saddled future generations with.
He's been true to his word about that.
He doesn't give a damn about inflation. He does not care. And he said, I'm never stopping spending the money. That's the guy we're talking about here. Anyway, he voted, against that or for the War Powers Act, right?
Right. So the Senate, they considered a war powers resolution, and that would require Donald Trump to get congressional approval before taking any further military action in Venezuela. And there were 5 Republican senators, including Todd Young, who joined all the Democrats to advance the resolution, which kind of rebukes Donald Trump's military actions there. So Todd Young was on the side of some Democrats.
And then Trump, as he does, went on Truth Social Media,
Called him out.
said he should never be elected to office again. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I look forward to Donald Trump doing everything in his power to ensure Todd Young is never elected to any office ever again. And then now Young is flipped his vote. He changed his mind.
He did. He reversed course and he voted against the resolution. Now, he said it was because he received some assurances from Marco Rubio and, quote, other officials.
Oh, sure.
That there were going to be no U.S. troops on the ground. So that's what made him change his mind.
Josh Hawley also flipped his vote, and then Rubio was the tie-breaking vote to kill the measure.
No, J.D. Vance was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, J.D. Vance, the vice president.
Yeah. So the resolution failed. It was 50-50 tie, and then J.D. Vance cast the tie-breaking vote, and so it was defeated. Nothing to worry about. But now we know that Todd Young was not really strong in his convictions.
He's a wussy.
In his first vote.
He's a wussy. A big tough Marine. He's a big wussy. I'd like to say something else, but I'm not sure I can say that on
You can say
public
it
airwaves.
as long as you know you're paying the fine.
So he's a wussy. Todd Young's a big fat chicken.
Okay, so we've got we've got whole milk now in schools. Donald Trump reversed the Obama-era school milk restrictions.
What, they had banned whole milk in schools?
Yeah, but
Why?
now you can have whole milk and 2% milk.
Wait. You're telling
You can
me
have full-fat dairy.
You're telling me in a public school you could not go in and buy whole milk? Like you get your lunch,
Mhm.
and you get a carton of milk with the lunch?
Correct. You are limited to fat-free or low-fat milk.
What was the reason for that? Just to make people miserable? What, the
Well-
whole milk was the problem? That's destroying the health of America's youth, was the whole milk?
And now the USDA has launched a campaign, and it features Donald Trump with a milk mustache and the hashtag drink whole milk, and it kind of echoes the old classic got milk ads.
So they were saying it was making America's kids a bunch of fatties. Is that the deal?
I don't think they used those exact words.
But I mean, that's what they were implying.
Pretty much.
Your kids are a bunch of tubbos,
Mhm.
and it's that whole milk that's taking them down. Not the candy or anything else, right? The chocolate. It's the whole milk. The whole milk people.
They made this announcement, and Donald Trump was in the Oval Office. Kevin, if you can go to number 12, there was some milk on the Resolute desk when Donald Trump was making the announcement. He said it had been there for 5 days, but here he is offering the reporters old milk.
The milk here, it's been sitting here for 5 days, so it's from the original bottle, and I brought it so the press can have some. You can swig it all out of this. Remember the old days when we were kids, everybody shared a bottle? Today we tend not to do that, but if you'd like to, if you trust the person that you're drinking after, it's right here. It's yours, okay?
Just like Trump to offer reporters old milk.
There was some breaking news the Star has that has come out. This is a kind of an old story, but an update on this. According to the Indy Star, Kyle Cox. Now, he was the former Park Tudor basketball coach. He was seen as like this rising star in the coaching ranks who got totally derailed. He ended up in federal prison for 14 years. This was related to he allegedly coerced an underage student into exchanging sexually explicit messages. And this was a massive story when this went down. He was supposed to be in prison for 12 years, and he has now been released 2 years early.
Oh.
And so the Star requested an update, didn't get from the Bureau of Prisons why he was let out early. But for the longtime listeners of WIBC, they'll remember that was a huge story because he was seen as just this rising star in the coaching ranks, totally done under. There was a huge scandal. Anyway, he's out of prison early.
Thank you, Rob. Enjoy your long weekend. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for listening today. This has been Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Don Fisher for QC Kinetics. I was struggling with chronic knee pain and wasn't encouraged with the options of risky surgery and pain pills. QC Kinetics offered the best option for me, cutting-edge regenerative medicine. Their non-invasive treatment stimulated my body's own biologics so I could be pain-free and get back to doing what I love, playing golf. QC Kinetics has a fantastic success rate, and it's clear to see why so many Hoosiers are happy to tell their story of how they reclaimed their lives with the QC Kinetics approach. Ready to live your life pain-free? Go to qckinetics.com/Indianapolis or call 317-559-PAIN and get